Right, what do you think of this Raw show?
It was, I mean, some of it, okay. I thought that the closing scene was good, and I'm really curious. You know, there's obviously a reason that the whole family is out there. There's something going on that's going to, you know, there's a reason the daughter and the mom are there. I don't know what it is. I don't know, if it's Dominic's going to turn heel or Aaliyah's going to turn heel or something. But there's got to be a reason for this. But as far as, I mean, my thought watching the show is that this third hour may really plummet because the idea, now granted, I didn't even check what was on other stations tonight. I know that when the show was over, I did check ESPN and they had a football game. And it was like a total blowout. So, and it was a college game. And so I don't know that hurt. But when I'm watching the show itself, I'm thinking Dominic Mysterio and Murphy, not Seth Rollins, but Murphy is the main event. And then the rest of that stuff in hour 3, we had those handicap matches with Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott and some of that Raw Underground stuff. And I was just thinking, like, this third hour really could take a hit. I mean, just watching the show, that was just my gut feeling. The Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton stuff was really good. It's weird in the sense that you know, normal protocol or normal booking is that if a guy has heat like Randy Orton has, you keep it until the pay-per-view rather than have him just get destroyed and all the revenge. Because essentially we got all the revenge. He got 3, was it 2 or 3 Claymore kicks? I think it was 3, right?
I believe so, yes. I was wondering why his jaw wasn't fractured.
Well, he was selling like it might be, but they didn't say that. Yeah. So it's like, he got his revenge and on Randy Orton weeks before the show, which may also mean that Randy Orton's going to have to do something next week. But I mean, as far as watching it was, I thought that it was really a good show as far as Drew McIntyre being number 1 John Wayne babyface, you know. I thought that was good. I didn't think it was particularly good for Keith Lee. I'm really, like, it was good. We got the Cedric Alexander turn, but my God, this thing with Apollo Crews and those guys against, now the Viking Raiders are part of it, with the Hurt Business, it is just, it feels so redundant because the baby faces always lose. It's like, it's not like, you know, it's like, I'm not saying like, if you're gonna like do a feud that goes like 15 weeks, and granted, Cruz did get some wins in there in the 15 weeks, but as a general rule, I don't think Ricochet and Cedric, I guess that they got the one win the week Ali came, and then Ali, then he disappeared. But yeah, I guess my feeling is that they, I don't know. I mean, is there a way to justify Keith Lee now? I mean, granted, he didn't get pinned, but he was a guy. He was a guy. He was, again, another match with Randy Orton and another match with Randy Orton where Keith Lee does not do any Keith Lee stuff. It's like, what's the, I mean, what, I don't get, like, the whole idea is that, he's supposed to elevate himself because he got RKO'd last week. He got RKO'd this week. He didn't do anything spectacular in either match. He's just the big guy in a tight t-shirt, and the announcers weren't even putting him over that big this time. It's almost, like compared to, like, at least last week they were putting him over like crazy. So it's almost like it was one of those things where, and wasn't this predictable? 3 weeks in, 4 weeks in, it's the same thing that we've seen with every one of these guys that gets brought in. They just become another guy.
Well, the show opens up with Randy Orton coming out, and he does his promo about how Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, he beat all these guys, and now once again he has to face Keith Lee on this show. They announced it was him and Keith Lee here, and he said he was going to kick him in the head. Then he calls out Drew, and as he's cutting a promo, suddenly an ambulance siren goes off. I thought Scott Steiner was going to make an entrance. Instead, it is Drew McIntyre, allegedly still with a hairline fracture in his jaw. He hits the ring.
Doesn't like if you had a broken jaw, shouldn't you like your talking be different? And also, and I guess this is like whatever, but if you're hurt that bad, I guess like you shouldn't be able to train.
He missed a week.
He missed a week.
That's a very, very serious injury to a WWE main eventer.
Yeah, and he never stopped training.
No, of course not. It was his jaw.
Whatever.
Hairline fracture, Dave. It's a very low-level fracture.
It was supposed to be fractured skull and bleeding on the brain.
Well, they did the tests, and they came up clean. So anyway, he lays out Orton with a Claymore kick. Geeks run down to make the save. This is the first of many kicks here on this show. MVP is backstage with his crew. They bully and beat up a janitor. This seems like a lawsuit waiting to happen. I don't expect there to be one. And then Drew is walking around backstage, and Scrap Iron Adam Pearce shows up, and he says, "Sorry, Drew, you're not cleared to be here tonight. You've got to go." And Drew doesn't want to go, and Pearce says, "Listen, you got to go." And Drew says, I'll be at the Clash one way or not, fractured jaw or not. He's going to have to send me to the morgue to get me not to be there. And then Pearce tells all of the security guys that we can't have another stunt like this. Somebody attacking somebody. So therefore, go to your posts, and we got to make sure that Drew leaves the premises. No more uninvited guests. So anyways, you noted earlier, they beat up Drew McIntyre. The whole storyline was he may not make it to the pay-per-view. They rushed the number one contendership onto Randy Orton. And then it was like they figured out, well, now what do we do for 3 weeks? Well, we got to bring Drew back now. So the whole storyline, will he be there or not? That's out the window. He's already gotten his revenge. I don't know why. Well,
I figured that he would be on this week's show and they would announce that the match.
Why
was
didn't
really
he do this on the Go Home show?
The 3 kicks.
So you tease it for a while.
He shouldn't have done the 3 kicks. I mean, on the Go Home show.
Well, he doesn't have to do the 3 kicks, but I'm just saying, keep a storyline for a couple of weeks that he may not even make it to the pay-per-view.
I think that they were afraid of doing a 3-hour show without him.
Then maybe you shouldn't have done the angle where you tell us a story that he may not be there for the pay-per-view in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I know.
That seems like a waste of my time now.
Well, like I said, I guess Orton's going to need to do something on next week's show, because right now Orton's got no heat for that match. I mean, and I also figure that, him laying him out like this may be, again, another sign that Orton's winning.
We had Apollo, who, by the way, came out long before any of this. He's just been standing in the ring for about 10 minutes. Then Ricochet comes out. Then Cedric comes out. Cedric gets jumped by the Hurt Business on the ramp. This leads to a match. So Cedric has just been beaten up, but it is him, Ricochet, and Apollo versus Hurt Business. And they get the heat on Apollo for a while, and then Ricochet gets the hot tag. Or actually, Apollo's about to make the hot tag to Ricochet, and Cedric yanks Ricochet off the apron, and he starts beating on him. And then Cedric hits the ring and gives Apollo the lumbar check. Shelton is shocked. Lashley and MVP are happy as can be. Shelton hits Apollo with the pay dirt, gets the pin. So after all of these weeks of teasing that they were going to turn Cedric, they actually turned Cedric.
I figured that's what they were going to do.
Well, I figured they were going to do some stupid swerve. I was over the moon when they actually did what we figured they would do.
Yeah. I mean, I thought from the start of the whole thing that Cedric was turning, and so they finally did it, and Cedric was good. I mean, I thought that it came up pretty well, and, I thought he did a pretty decent, explanation and everything like that. So, that's good. It was movement. It was something new. I don't know why they needed to do that second match on the show and beat those guys again. That I didn't get, but they have to fill 3 hours. So I guess, that's part of it.
We had a recap of Angel deserting Demi from last week. 7 days. We have no idea what happened to her. I hope she's all right.
They said that she's all right. They said that she escaped unharmed. They told us that.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, she's okay. So we just had a turn, and now we have another one, and we have them all over every show. It's like the same angle constantly. We just had a turn on SmackDown. We have other partners that aren't getting along. Here we have another set of partners, with Garza and Andrade who weren't getting along.
Well, it's Street Profits versus Angel and Andrade, and in fact, from the opening bell, they can't get along. And then Angel walks out on him, literally like we're talking a minute into the match. Andrade is double teamed. Montez hits him with the splash and pins him.
It was a great looking splash, and it seemed, I have to watch it again, but it seemed like the ref wasn't sure about the finish. It was an awkward
No,
count.
I can tell you exactly what happened.
Okay.
So when he hit the frog splash, for some reason he decided, and here is the most dated reference of all dated references, he was going to do the Three Stooges deal, where as he's going for the cover, he's running in a full circle. And so Montez is running in a circle as he's covering this guy. And so the ref counts 2, but then he can't see the shoulders. And so he has to run around to see the shoulders to count the 3. It was very wacky.
Yeah.
That's what happened. So then this crew is broken up, and Cesaro and Nakamura come out, and they go to commercial. Cole brings up the long-forgotten brand-to-brand invitational, if you remember that one. And after commercial, Cesaro and Nakamura in the ring with Street Profits, and they basically challenge them for next week. The challenge is accepted, so it's champion versus champion, Raw versus SmackDown on Raw next Monday.
Isn't that like for Survivor Series every year?
Well, yes. But now that there's a brand-to-brand invitational, every quarter, they said this time, some people can go from one brand to another.
But they do anyway.
I'm well aware.
I mean, it's like...
Can we just unite these titles and get it over with?
Well, we're not going to unite the titles. I mean, they're not going to do that. They need to have 1 million belts. That's just, every time they unite them, they end up breaking them up right away. I mean, you've seen that.
Truth is in catering. Ninja shows up. Tozawa shows up with a ninja ref. Brawl breaks out. Unlike last week, this one
I think
sucked.
this was supposed to be a restaurant, not catering.
Well, wherever it was also supposed to be funny, and it wasn't. So this failed.
Yeah, it was pretty silly.
Then we have Peyton versus Billy. All those years together, dating back to middle school, they finally break up, and they have their match unadvertised on Raw. And they get like 3 minutes.
It's like a quick squash. It was very clear that they have no plans for Billy Kay, and Vince wants to make Peyton a single. I can't say that she's really standing out or anything like that.
Well, she had a match with Billy.
Yeah, I know, probably not the best.
I mean,
right?
It was better than most of their tag matches, but I mean, there was nothing all that good about it. Peyton wins, and then even though they turned on each other last week and they fought here, they hugged.
So they were hugging, right? And I'm going like, okay, she's jumping her for sure. She's jumped, right?
And she
did.
Of
course. They just panned to the announcers like, okay, they're going to pan right back because he's jumping her. She didn't jump her. It's like she just turned heel on her partner, and then they hugged. It's like, what? I guess the deal, maybe something, maybe Billy's leaving, and they know it, and that was their thing, but okay, when that's happening, can't you hug backstage?
I don't know. It was weird.
Or if you're going to hug, wait until the camera's off, or I don't know. It was just really weird because
I don't think this was an accidental hug or an unplanned hug on television. I presume that.
They're going to put them back together.
I don't know if they're going to put them back together, but I mean, maybe the attack is going to come next week.
Okay,
I guess
perhaps.
We'll see.
Yeah, but then what? They're going to wrestle again?
I hope not.
I mean, they didn't do a match that made you want to see a return. And I'm not even talking about the quality of the match. I mean, it was a 3-minute match and a 1-2-3 with you know what I mean? It was very clear that one was the star and the other one wasn't. So it's not like, it's not like they did a match where it was 50-50 and fluke finish and you want to see a return. I mean, it was very much a blow off. Last week looked like a blow off when she threw her into Jessamine Duke's, and to get knocked out. And then this looked like another blow off. We
have the Mysterio family coming down to the ring. It was hilarious watching Ray have to direct everybody where to stand so they could face the hard cam awkwardly for this interview with Charlie. And he says, I got a torn bicep, no timetable, can't wait to be back. Tricep. Charlie wants to know what words of advice he gave to Dominic. Ray says he knows what to do with Murphy tonight. I am so confident in my son. He's going to put an end to Murphy. So Murphy...
So it's supposed to be, the last I heard, which would have been, I think Wednesday or Thursday, they're looking at 4 to 6 weeks for Ray. It's not, it's a partial tear, yeah.
So Murphy appears on the Tron, says, it's because of you, Dom, that Seth has turned on me, and he berated me in the ring. He wants nothing to do with me. And Ray says it's your fault that you pledged your loyalty to that son of a bitch. Murphy says, Dom has a bright future, but I'll end it before it begins. Tonight, I want this to be a street fight. So Dom has now had 3 official matches in WWE, 2 of which have been street fights. Dom accepts...
Well, it's a way to, it's a way to give him more latitude. It's very clear that somebody told them that they're missing, early 20s guys on television. So they found one, and they're...
Somebody had to tell them this?
Well...
I mean, someone clearly did, but I mean, hello?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know. Well, I think that, that may be one of the things they learned when they were starting to lose with the younger viewers, especially when you lose with the younger girl viewers, the idea is maybe we need a younger guy. And so there you go. Dominic came at the right time for that. And they're really giving they're giving him more of a push than Keith Lee, really, if you think everything about it.
Even though he's losing.
Even though he's losing, I mean, he's the one who's he's in showcase matches. He's getting to do all everything in the world that he can do, whereas Keith is out there trying to work like a WWE big guy, like he's the freaking one-man gang or something.
Shane is signed to a handicap match with the Riot Squad. She's upset about this.
How did that? I guess that Nia Jax must have done some promo.
Well, Adam Pearce says Nia said that you could take both of them on, but I also feel he says that Nia should have the same opportunity. It's ridiculous,
isn't it? And it's like, how does this build like the other team for a title match?
Well, the other team did beat one half of the tag team champions tonight.
2-on-1.
Yes, it's ridiculous.
That's what I mean.
So Drew walks by and Pierce.
So you have two baby faces against one heel twice.
Yes, that's what happened.
Yeah.
So Pierce goes up to him and says, Drew, you got to go. And Drew says, I'm leaving. We have Asuka and Mickey versus Lana and Natty. They announced it's Asuka versus Mickey for the title next week. They're, of course, like every team in this company, they're having issues.
Yep.
And they beat on Mickey for a while. And I have no idea why this went so long, but we had to limit Angel and Andrade. Dude, Angel and Andrade got 30 seconds or a minute. This got like 4 minutes.
Yeah, I know. Well, I think they just wanted to get that Andrade Angel thing over with, but yeah. I mean, this 4 minutes is not a long time either.
So especially this finish is just preposterous. So Asuka's on the apron. Mickey's getting beaten on. Mickey crawls to make the tag, but right before Mickey can tag, Asuka gets yanked off the apron. So Mickey decides, well, I got to go up to the top rope. So as she's going to the top rope, Asuka gets back on the apron and blind tags in. Mickey is then upset. Even though Mickey had gone to get a tag, now that her partner tagged herself in, now she's upset. Asuka taps out Lana, and Asuka and Mickey argue afterwards. Who came up with this idea?
You said dropkick spot?
Which one?
Mickey James dropkick on Natalia.
I must not have seen it.
Oh, you should see it.
Not good?
Oh, it was all over the internet tonight.
Really?
It was not good, no.
Wow. I'll look for that here in just a second. Cedric and the Hurt Business are backstage. MVP and Lashley are all excited, and then after they leave, Shelton says to Cedric, he lets him know he does not necessarily trust him, and if this is a ruse, he is going to make him pay. This was not subtle at all. So, I don't know if eventually Cedric is, in fact, going to have not really turned, although He beat up his friends and destroyed them. So this is a horrible plan on their part if that's the plan. But not subtle here.
Well, at least it's something. I liked it because it's.
I liked it too because when he turned, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
is this a real turn?
Yeah, no, it's a layer that they usually don't go to. You know, with the idea that maybe he's infiltrating them, and Shelton's not a dunce and he's not falling for it. So I thought that added a little bit of a layer to it. I like that. I like that spot.
We had the Hurt Business in the ring with Cedric, and MVP says, "Why'd you change your mind?" Shelton says, "Yeah, I need to hear this." And Cedric says, "Listen, I've been on the business end of a beatdown every week. I would rather learn and I would rather earn. I'm going broke running around with Ricochet and Apollo. It's hard to be tag team partners with a guy who calls himself the one and only, and I'm sacrificing myself for someone else's championship."
So are we supposed to be told now that these guys that we see on TV don't make any money?
I don't think that's what they're saying. I think what he's saying is, believe it or not, we keep losing, and so we keep getting the loser's end of the purse. Whereas if he were winning, he would get the winner's side of the purse.
He didn't say that.
He didn't say that, but that's what I got out of this.
I just got the fact that all these guys must not be making any money because he was talking about being broke, and he was tired of being broke.
Well, I mean, if you're losing all the time, then you probably aren't making all that much money.
But you're still on TV. I mean, like, you know, the theory is that all these guys on TV are at least making a livable wage, except for...
well, in the old days, that was a theory, Dave, but clearly not since Shawn Michaels lost that string of his strip mall or whatever. Remember all of his... He ran out of money, and who was that had to help him? Big Show or something? It was
JBL.
JBL, that's right.
And
My God.
Big Show went broke too.
Yeah, Big Show also went broke.
Yeah, Big Show went broke, and then
I think
Kevin
Big
Owens,
Show was a strip mall. Shawn just spent all of his money or something.
And then Kevin Owens got that $100,000 fine, which is a lot of money. But he explained that's like his son's education money.
Yeah, not good. Thank God JBL was there to turn his financial future around.
Yeah.
So we had, anyway, this segment here ends up with the Viking Raiders interrupting, and then it was Hurt Business, Cedric, Viking Raiders, Apollo, and Ricochet. And they had a fun match until the end. Ricochet does his big comeback, and everyone's hitting these dives, and Ivar just went for the dive, and, I watched it several times. I mean, I guess his neck snapped or whatever, but
he went right into Bobby Lashley's forearm or elbow or something. It's like and then he went right down and he was hurt, and then they went right to the finish in some way.
He went down and he held up the X, and Ricochet ends up getting back in the ring, misses a 450. Cedric gets a Michinoku driver. 1-2, kick out, ref counts 3. And it's so obviously a 2 count. And the announcer's call is a 3. And then later they show a replay. And Michael Cole watches and says, I think he kicked out at 2.
So obvious that he did.
You think? He kicked out at 2, dude. What do you mean you think? In no universe was that a 3. It wasn't even 2.5.
No, it was interesting because it was very clear that, the ref may have gotten a signal to just end it, but they forgot to tell Ricochet. Because in no way, shape, if Ricochet knew, he ain't doing that. So it's that was just a weird mistake.
Then they had all of the. Actually, what I want to give credit to, I presume MVP, because after the match is over, we got a brief shot of the doctors helping Ivar outside. And Ivar is still laying on MVP's leg. And Ivar's a big dude, so I'm sure that it didn't feel good for him to be laying on poor MVP's leg. But I think MVP really was concerned about moving the guy to the point where he wouldn't even get his leg out from underneath of him.
That's interesting.
He deserves credit for that. So, Charlie asks Drew, dude, why are you still here?
He lost his phone.
He says, I lost my phone, and I've got to...
He lost his phone, and then he picked up the wrong phone, and he couldn't find his real phone. And even worse, he couldn't find the exit.
No.
In a building that he's been in, every week.
Very
unfortunate.
unfortunate.
Only been a couple weeks. It's only been a couple weeks, I suppose.
Well, they put all those screens in. Maybe they have virtual doors, and he kept running into screens.
Yeah.
So we had Shane sees Kevin Owens at Raw Underground. Kevin's there to fight Aleister Black tonight.
That was interesting.
He admits to still thinking that Shane is a jackass. And we have Randy Orton versus...
Well, at least they acknowledged that. It would have been so hokey to just like pretend nothing ever happened when they had that big feud whatever it was last year.
We have Randy Orton versus Keith Lee. And it's just a basic WWE big man versus little man match. Randy goes for the RKO.
Medium man.
Big.
Randy's not a little man by any means.
Well, compared to Keith Lee, he's a pretty small man. And
he's way taller than Keith Lee. I mean, he's a lot
definitely
lighter.
not wider.
No, he's a lot lighter than Keith Lee, that's for sure.
So Randy tries the RKO, Keith Lee just stands there. Randy Orton puts him in a chin lock on the mat. Then he puts him in a sleeper. I'm like, dude, what's going on here?
Did you think the match was going to go 20 minutes or something?
Well, no, I didn't. That's why I was wondering what the fuck I was watching a chin lock and a sleeper in a Keith Lee match for.
Because it was a Randy Orton match. I wasn't surprised about that, but I was watching this, and my thought was, okay, they can't beat Keith Lee because that would be completely stupid. It'd be counterproductive to anything they do. So the finish is Drew's coming back, and Drew's going to hit this guy with a Claymore kick, and Keith's beating him again.
No,
and I was wrong.
Are you kidding?
That's
Keith
what I
Lee
thought.
goes for the spirit bomb. Randy slips behind. Randy lays him out with his finisher, the RKO. But before he can pin Keith Lee, he gets hit with the Claymore kick. Keith Lee rolls out of the ring. We never see him again. 3 weeks.
Man, my way was much better. And then because now, honestly, if Randy wins the championship, Randy and Keith Lee, we've already seen how long was this match? 5 minutes?
Dude, this happened the last time they wrestled on Raw.
But but there was like the excuse of the last one that he didn't pin him, and technically he didn't pin him here, but it was done in a way where it's like, okay, this match is over. And we all know, like, they were so concerned about protecting Randy Orton and him getting his win back, but we didn't pin Keith Lee, that they didn't think of a way that you could do this that still protects Keith Lee a lot more and doesn't, and it's the same for Randy Orton. It's like, Randy already got his championship match. I guess the idea is that Randy's getting kicked in the face 3 times, so he needs to lay somebody out. So you know what? If that's the case, find another frickin' babyface to put him in the ring with. Don't put him in the ring with. It doesn't have to be Keith Lee, because this was just, like you said, 3 weeks. It happened again. It's not a surprise. It always happens, but it's never any fun watching it happen.
We had Raw Underground with Kevin Owens attacking Aleister Black, and they brawl. They fall off the platform. Shane says, "We'll be right back." They go to commercial, and we were not right back. Instead, it's Adam Pearce with Orton, and Adam apologizes, but Orton flips out on him and says, I'll never be able to trust you. When this segment was over, I was certain that Adam Pearce, this poor guy, he's got an RKO and a punt coming.
They're using him on both shows, though, so I'm not so sure.
I think that they just started using him on both shows, and I think they're going to be using someone else here for a while in a minute.
Yeah, maybe.
This didn't look good for him, this segment. We have Shane and the Riot Squad, and handicap match, advantage baby faces, ridiculous. They double team Shayna. Shayna still cuts off Liv all by herself. She goes to stomp the arm, but Nia says, "Try something different." And Liv rolls her up and pins her. Nia laughs.
And Nia's laughing. I mean, what did this prove? Because basically, these guys are getting a tag team title shot, and they were booked to look so completely inferior. And they're already, are 2 women that really have never gotten pushed past a certain level. And it's they won. They did get the win, but it was basically, it's not even that they won clean. It was like Nia Jax, basically was the one who distracted Shayna to lead to the win, because Shayna had the match won. So, I don't know. I mean, it's not the pay-per-view match. It's in theory, or they can do the match on pay-per-view. Whatever. It's not the main event.
I presume it's a pay-per-view match. I could be wrong.
Man. Well, it doesn't matter. I guess they got a dearth of teams right now.
So now we go back to Raw Underground. Alistair and Kevin Owens are still fighting. This is a battle to the death. Alistair tries a knee bar. Kevin goes for the eyes. Alistair tries an arm bar. Kevin throws him into a wall. And we cut away. More to come.
Well, they both start beating up other fans.
So back to Raw. It is now Nia versus the Riot Squad. 2-on-1 match advantage baby faces. And they double team Nia. Nia then by herself gets the heat on Ruby. She tries Shayna's armbreaker spot, but Ruby avoids it. They double team Nia. And suddenly the lights flicker and every fan in the building vanished. They disappeared. And the words retribution appear on the screens.
So they have their own. They have their own entrance graphic now.
So we now have 5 members. Mm-hmm. One of them is clearly Dijakovic. One of them is clearly Mia Yim.
One of them's Mojo.
Okay, Mojo, I guess, is in there. And some dude cuts a promo saying this mountain of screens is the same WWE as before. Same behemoth, the behemoth that discarded and disowned us, leaving us to survive in an unfair world. And I guess they're mad.
Yeah.
But they're Raw exclusive, so that's nice of them.
Yeah, the guy in the middle that was talking was Dijakovic.
The guy who was 10 feet tall was Dijakovic?
6'5", but yeah.
Got it.
Dijakovic, yeah. Yeah, because I could tell from his... Like, they digitized the voice.
From his great height and the way he talked.
But like, I'm listening to him talking, I go, this is Dijakovic, like, digitized.
Yeah, they barely digitized it. It sounded exactly like Dijakovic.
I know. It was like, okay, well, at least I know who the guy is, yeah. That doesn't mean he'll be unmasked as the guy, but he probably will. I mean, it makes sense. So, but this thing's getting worse by the week. It's just like such a hokey nothing, you know. I when it was over, it was like it's been embarrassed. There were segments with Retribution that were a lot more embarrassing than this one, but when this one was over, it's kind of like, you know, I'm just like unmask him because this thing is just, you know. It's not like the Nexus thing where they had great heat going into the first pay-per-view and then they lost and that was like a big mistake. This one's already like falling apart. It's just, you know, I don't know. Just watching this thing and it's just so nothing. That's what I'll say. Just so nothing.
Another interview with the Mysterios, and Ray says, it's obvious Murphy wants Dominic by himself, but that's not how we roll. We're going to be in Dom's corner tonight. If Murphy tries anything, we know how to handle ourselves. There we go. Felt like poor Sarah here trying to spit that out. Kevin and Alistair are still fighting. Kevin has very good MMA defense. I'll give him that. Alistair gets thrown off the stage into Dabba-Kato. He hits the ring. He kills both guys.
Yep.
That's how Raw Underground ends. So he's got to be debuting on the main roster after that.
Yeah. Well, and Kevin got a promo on him on Raw Talk, so it looks like he's going to be coming with Kevin. So I guess they're going to do something with the guy, because he'll probably. I'm going to guess he's going to go in there and beat Kevin. I mean, he's a big guy.
He'll get a good 3 weeks here.
Yeah, he's a good athlete. I was never impressed with him in NXT, but you know, he's like a real 6'9", 360. You know, was in an NFL camp with the Vikings, and you know, agile. He's really agile for a guy that size. He was on. I remember because I saw him in the what was the thing called? They had like the you know, the thing in NXT where they had everybody do like, you know, like when you do like football agility drills, and you know, you're kind of doing it's kind of an obstacle course type of thing, not exactly. And you got all these guys there, and like so Riddick Moss and Dan Matha, who's not there anymore, who's like 6'7" bodybuilder, who is really agile and also a pretty decent promo. And it's like, I guess his work must have, well, you know, I know his work wasn't good, you know, but it still amazed me that they cut him, you know, because it's just, you know, whatever. And then he was talking about how he really wanted to do something in wrestling, and I guess we have a pandemic, so I guess it's tougher, but he hasn't done anything. It's like, I always think that like these guys, when they get cut, you know, just go out there and do indies, and, you know, and some guys do, and then some guys don't. So, but the ones who I'm not giving up on this thing, and then you never see him again.
Dude, I got a question for you, since you've given this rant many times.
Yes.
Fred Rosser.
Yep.
Darren Young.
Yep.
Has he done anything in the last 3 years until this Friday on New Japan?
He did some indie stuff, but not a lot.
Dude,
not that much.
This guy looked so good. Did you see his match?
On New Japan, yeah, he did look good.
Holy smokes!
Yeah, he looked good. Yeah.
I was really surprised because
but he was in there with good people though too.
he was in there with good people, but he looked really good in that match.
He looked like he could wrestle. Yes.
Yeah, for a guy that they barely did anything with him ever, and then he dropped off the face of the earth pretty much after they cut him. It's like, boy, they dropped the ball on this dude. Of course, they dropped the ball on almost everybody, but he looked really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Babatunde is really, for his size, he's amazingly agile. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be a good pro wrestler. And what I've seen of him as a pro wrestler, he never did anything in NXT at all. But, yeah, I got a feeling he's going to be 3 weeks. They should do a movie about WWE.
They should call Retribution 3 weeks.
Just name the movie 3 weeks and have everyone who comes in from NXT and they come in and they get that big win in week 1, and then 3 weeks later,
and they go 8 minutes with Dolph Ziggler week 2, and then week 3, this guy.
But with Keith, what's so amazing with Keith is it's just it's almost like everything that you could do wrong with him, they're doing, because it's
that's what they do. That's frustrating.
It's like I know, there's the mentality, okay, he's a big guy and we don't want him doing a lot of stuff because of his, might hurt his knees and this and that. But you can do a little bit. You know what I mean? It's you don't have to do what he did on the indies. But that is sort of how he got over. And even in NXT, when they toned him down from doing say 15 flying spots and maybe gave him 3, at least with the 3, it's okay, it's not as good. And I'm not saying more is better. I'm just saying I watched him on indies all the time, and I saw him in some amazing indie matches. There was one which I wasn't even at live, but I was down for a PWG show and I must have missed a show. And I came back and these guys just basically were like, you have got to watch this match. It was him and Riddle. And this match was freaking incredible. For both guys. This was every bit as good as the Suzuki and Shingo Takagi match from a couple weeks ago. That's how good it was. And, now I'm watching these two guys in WWE and I don't know what to say. But Keith, it's Keith's working with Randy Orton, the guy who we're told is one of the greatest workers in the business. And obviously, in certain ways, Randy Orton is absolutely fantastic. But he's not getting you know what I mean? It's well, he'll, he's going to really have a great match with Keith Lee because he's going to, whatever. It's a total nothing match, and it's not it's okay. The first one, it's well, they're saving it for a later one. It's now we've had 2 of them and they were both, it's 2, right? Or is it 3?
I think it's 3.
It's 3.
We had the one with no finish, and then the pay-per-view match, and then this one.
Okay, so it's 3, and not one of them has been a good match. The only thing that was good is in match 2, Keith Lee won, so people were raving about it because they were shocked that Randy Orton would put him over, which I wasn't shocked at all because it was the only finish that made sense. But then again, the finish that they did here made no sense at all. I guess that's what people were expecting is we're just expecting something that just buries the guy. And they didn't bury him, so it's it's good. And it's well, here we are. You got your, whatever plus that pin on that pay-per-view meant, it was taken away tonight. Because a lot more people watch this match than watch that pay-per-view match. And in this match, it's just he was not special at all. And it's not that hard. He can do special things. You just don't. He doesn't have to give the guy an RKO. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to do that. I guess.
Actually, we've had 3 Keith Lee Randy Orton singles matches, and we had the 3-way where Randy Orton pinned Seth.
Yeah.
Last week. So anyway, Randy's walking around backstage, and he gets booted again by Drew McIntyre. So I guess we can have a jaw for a jaw match at the pay-per-view. Maybe that'll be the stip. Then Orton's taken away in the ambulance. And finally, the main event, Dominic versus Murphy. Street fight. The Mysterio family's all out there with weapons. And they have a long match. And for a long time...
I thought the match was really good.
Yes, the Mysterio family does not get involved till the very end. Dom's doing dives off the Thunderdome. Did this sunset flip powerbomb, sending Murphy through a table outside. Frog splash in the ring.
That Murphy is a really good worker. I mean, they definitely picked the right guy to put him in a match with. You know, it's unfortunate with Murphy that you know, his benefactor was Heyman, and now, you know, I think he's going to go back to being what Murphy was before, which is a really good worker that nobody realizes, and you know, because there's no Seth. I don't know if they're broken up or not. I mean, the impression is that they are, but who the hell knows? You know, he did, and then he lost again. So whatever.
Well, finally at the end, the Mysterio family jumps in there, and Ray and Dom tie Murphy to the ropes. They grab kendo sticks. They cane the hell out of this guy. Ray screams into the camera that Payback is a bitch. They cane this guy to death. They pull his shirt up. They bring mom and daughter into the ring. They get sticks. They're pounding on Murphy. The whole family is just beating him down. He finally verbally submits as he's getting caned in the ropes, so Dominic wins. And then the family continues beating him as the show goes off the air. Now, normally, if you would hear, it was a 4-on-1 beating, 4 baby faces beating the hell out of one heel left alone all by himself. You would think, this is ridiculous. But,
no, but it worked here.
It worked so well because of all of the things that Seth and Murphy have done to Ray and Dominic, and they popped out his eye, and especially the caning that they gave Dominic, where we saw just lashes all over his body, and he's got welts and bleeding. Like, this totally 4-on-1 beat down to the heel absolutely totally worked. It was great.
And the
happy ending.
Yeah, and the other key is it's a minor step because the real heat is Seth, not Buddy Murphy.
Sure. But still, hey, great. We saw the baby faces got their head held high here at the end of the match.
Yeah. I thought it was really, really well done. And Dominic, you know, like, Dominic's like really,
this guy's got something. Obviously.
He's very talented for the number of matches that he's had. And for whatever reason, I don't know how long this is going to last, but, you know, Vince has not ruined him yet. I mean, Vince has beaten him. There's, you know, but Vince is he's still protecting him to a degree. I don't know how long that will last, though. I mean, history.
Well, he's got more than 3 weeks, so he's doing better than most. But yes,
yeah.
And you know what he has too? Very much like Jungle Boy, he's got a real air of likability around him. You really like this kid. You want to see him succeed. He seems like a really nice kid.
Yeah.
This is not that baby face where you just hope that he gets beat up or you don't like him or whatever.
Yeah, I still think that they're going to blow it with him.
Of course they will. But he's Ray's son. He's got something.
Yeah, and they did sign Ray, and Ray could have gone to AEW, and they know Ray got a huge offer to go to AEW, and you know, stayed. So that's a feather in like the cap too. You know, they kind of, I don't want to say they owe him because they don't owe anyone anything, but they know, you know, again. Ray had no contract. I mean, Ray could have walked on, you know, AEW in the middle of this program. I mean, he wasn't going to do it because he's Ray, and he told him he wouldn't, and no matter what, he wouldn't. Okay, but the point is that legally he could have, and so you know, I mean, I know that loyalty to Vince is a one-way street. You know, you should be loyal to him, but he doesn't need to be loyal to you. But there is something to that right now. But he'll probably forget it at some point too, though. You know, down the line. I mean, maybe usually it's sooner than later.
Maybe we should just start at the beginning.
Well, what I would say is that we had all these different ideas for the Keith Lee Drew McIntyre finish, and every one of them sucked, and yet they had a worse one than we did.
It is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I was impressed. I was impressed that they could have that match, and that was like They did it again. It was like a total nothing match. And Both of those guys are good. In fact, they're both really good. And that match was nothing. They tried to split them up. It wasn't even like they were both babyfaces and there was no grudge. They were fighting the whole show until finally, like, Adam Pearce had to set the law down on those dudes and say that, like, you're going to both be off the pay-per-view, and you're not going to be able to wrestle tonight if you don't stop.
Did I miss the show where Adam Pearce became the GM?
Yeah, I think so.
Because,
okay. Yeah. No, Vince McMahon appointed him. Yeah. So
he did.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you're in charge. Yeah, and he hasn't blown it yet, even though the retribution seems to get in every single.
I thought he was talking about like you're in charge for the rest of the day. That was like him being appointed the GM of both shows.
He's not GM. He's just in charge. He's not been appointed GM. He's just the guy. They needed an authority figure, but they didn't want.
So he has no title.
No, he's just the guy who's like the head of security, who's security. Detail.
He's the head of security that can make matches and cancel pay-per-view main events. That sounds like a GM to me, Dave.
He's in charge. He's the authority figure. They need an authority figure, and they went with him. He can talk,
He does great. It's just out of nowhere, Adam Pearce is like a regular authority figure on this program.
Well, Pat Buck didn't make the cut. We haven't seen Pat Buck since that Nia Jax angle. So Adam Pearce has done much better. Speaking of which, that sure went nowhere.
Well, yeah, of course. Like, I mean, if you want me to go back and review Raw from 3 weeks ago and we can really have a fun time?
Well, think of all the stuff.
That should be like once a week we should go back and review the Raw from 3 weeks earlier.
Think of all the stuff tonight that's going nowhere. And there's going to be a lot
Demi?
of it. Yeah, that's one of them. Yep, that's one of them. She's been gone for 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
I guess she got scared by Retribution and didn't want to come back.
Or maybe it was a cover story. Maybe they got her. Company's trying to cover their ass. Oh, she got away just fine. We have no evidence of that. We're taking their word for it.
You think she maybe got a concussion in the fight?
I don't know what happened.
Okay. Yeah. So now, so Garza was, who was Garza hitting on this time?
Holy smokes. Let's start at the beginning here. We're going to be here all night if we don't start at the beginning.
Okay.
So Dolph comes out. He's doing commentary tonight with Michael Cole and Byron. Although later he was replaced by MVP because he decided he wanted to do Raw Underground.
We never have figured out what happened to Phillips, right?
He's vanished.
Phillips has been gone for 2 weeks. That's never a good sign. And Joe was gone. They just said he had the night off too. It's never a good sign.
No. So Drew McIntyre comes out for a promo, and he's talking about how Randy broke his jaw, but he's back. He says medical personnel told him to take time off, but he'd rather be in an ambulance every week than have to vacate his title.
So if he's not cleared, and that was what we were told, how come he wrestled tonight?
Well, I don't know. Adam Pearce said he could, and he's in charge.
Because last week he said he couldn't.
Well, I mean, he may have been cleared in the last 7 days.
No, they made a point that he made the point that he was told not to wrestle.
Well, he wrestled here. And he also added that because I've been hospitalized and you've been hospitalized, Randy, we've been spending a lot of time in ambulances, it only makes sense that our match at the pay-per-view should be an ambulance match.
Well, that's always good for a fucked finish.
Wow.
Yeah,
an ambulance match? You're telling me that if Randy Orton wins, Drew McIntyre is going out in an ambulance?
But you know how fluky they do those things. It's like they're going to have this.
But come on.
They're going to have this freaking match, and they're going to be out there, and someone's going to interfere, and someone's going to fall into the back, and they shut the door. It's not like it's not like an ambulance match from like the 70s where you beat the guy down where they drag him out on a stretcher and throw him in an ambulance. I mean, this is just another totally, fluke, nothing ending. We're already guaranteed that. So that makes me really excited about this match.
So Adam Pearce comes out and he says Randy's injuries are extensive. It's highly unlikely he's going to make it there tonight and perhaps to the Clash of Champions.
So I figured that was a sign that he was running in at the finish and he didn't run in.
No. Adam Pearce is a man of his word, it appears here. He says that your match against Keith Lee is now about more than bragging rights. Tonight, if Keith Lee beats you and Randy cannot make it to Clash of Champions, then Keith will face you for the WWF title or the WWE title at the pay-per-view. So,
still in an ambulance match.
Yeah. Which, by the way, now that we know the finish of the match, like, what happens if Randy can't make it now?
That's a really good question. Maybe then, if Randy can't make it...
We got another rematch next week?
Then Drew McIntyre probably has to face Keith Lee because we didn't get a finish. And to go to a finish to see who... And then if Drew McIntyre wins, then we don't have a pay-per-view main event.
That's right.
Well, I don't think it's going to happen like that. I figured that Randy Orton's going to be there.
So then Drew asked Adam Pearce, who put you in charge anyway? So apparently I was not the only one unaware. So then
they don't tell these guys anything.
Keith Lee comes out.
Do you know how little these guys know about what's going on there?
I'm well aware.
God, because they find out from you and then they'll blame you.
They shake hands, the handshake gets tense, and that's when they choose to go to commercial. The commercial breaks on this show are the most irritating thing on national television. Like, just, Impact used to do this. Like, right when something's happening, it was always to the back. On this show, it's to the commercial break. It just kills the flow. They do it in matches, they do it in angles, up and down a 3-hour show. We have Street Profits versus Cesaro and Nakamura, champion versus champion match. And we actually had a finish in this match. Dawkins got a hot tag. He's running wild. Cesaro just about kills Montez with a backdrop and an uppercut. I have no idea how he didn't kill this guy. Looked like he hit him in the jaw and snapped his neck back. Montez kicks out. Cesaro goes for a big outside-in superplex, but Dawkins got the hot tag, blind tag, and Frog Splash off the top got the pin. Cesaro was awesome in this match. They didn't have a ton of time, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was good.
Mickie James video package, and then Lana. Lana is with Angel Garza. What timing. Can't believe Mickie has a title shot when the obvious decision is Natty. And Angel says, this is unfair. Your passion for justice is intoxicating. He's trying to make his move.
Isn't she married to Lashley?
I think they got a divorce.
They're divorced?
They announced a divorce, but we never saw it on television. So presumably they just went to the courthouse and got divorced.
Okay.
So Lita shows up. She boots Lana out. She's upset that Angel deserted Andrade 2 weeks in a row. Now he's flirting with Lana. Angel says, I'm sick of being blamed for everything. Your golden boy lost the match. Last week, Andrade got pinned. Not me. Yell at him. So Andrade gets in Angel's face. They're yelling at each other in Spanish. So Lita flips out. She says, I can't take it anymore. She bails. Andrade and Angel start getting in a fight. And again, they cut away. And we never see them again.
So they'll probably be wrestling at some point. Not on the pay-per-view, though, because it's not champion. No, they're not champions. So they're just breaking up just to break up. I guess they could do a match next week on TV. But it's like this feud's going to do nobody any good. It certainly ain't going to do Andrade any good. It ain't going to do Garza any good either.
Stereo Family is talking backstage, and then the Hurt Business come out to talk. And Cedric does this promo about how everybody was whining on social media about what he did last week, but they have to understand this is his job. He was getting his ass kicked every week. He couldn't play with his kids the next day. Now he's here with the Hurt Business.
I thought that he was always in catering and wasn't wrestling. Wasn't that the gimmick?
Well, he was always in catering and wrestling, but he also was making no money because they were losing matches. And he was, in fact, getting his ass kicked every week, so...
I thought the guy.
He's got a lot of grievances here.
I thought the guy getting his ass kicked every week was Ricochet.
Well, actually, the guy getting their ass kicked every week was Ricochet, Apollo, and Cedric.
Yeah. But it was usually Ricochet, Cedric, and Mustafa Ali, except he completely disappeared off the face of the earth.
He's vanished.
Yeah.
So Apollo...
He's actually on Superstars every week. He's probably having better matches than anyone on Raw's having. On main event, yeah.
Ricochet and Apollo come out, and they're trying to talk to Cedric about how you were too weak, or actually, he tells them you were too weak-minded, you let yourself get manipulated. Maybe it's the other way around. But anyway, point of this is, Ricochet said we didn't come out here for an explanation. He said Cedric turning on him hurt him more than any beating the Hurt Business put on them. So, this leads to a match. It is Cedric versus Ricochet. They go a minute. Eric of the Viking Raiders runs down. They brawl. We go to commercial. After commercial, Ricochet makes a brief comeback. Cedric hits the lumbar check. Ricochet takes the greatest bump for a lumbar check ever in history, and he is pinned. And then the lights go out, and Retribution appears on the big screen. They cut this goofy promo. They're supposed to be like an invading group that's angry at WWE, but they cut the same fucking promos with the same shitty dialogue. It's fucking horrible.
Well, they explained they learned their promos in frickin' promo class.
Jesus, God.
They told you
if
that.
You're mad, then stop talking like that.
No, they learned in promo class. They said that they said they're all people from the PC. They've explained it, so they're not like an outside invading group. They're people who are all under contract. They're just mad. So
yeah, and then like 45 people show up here at the end of the show. So are we supposed to believe that like all of NXT is fucking invading the show? Is that what's going on?
Only the NXT guys that aren't any good.
Oh.
Yeah.
I got it.
The ones who aren't getting pushed in NXT.
Oh, I see.
So the talking people tonight were Dio Madden, Shane Thorne, Dijakovic, Mia Yim, and Mercedes Martinez. And then all those other people were probably every body that they could find, that's never on TV in the Performance Center.
So then when Sarah's with Mickie James, I swear to God, Sarah says, "What emotion fills you?" It's a question. Mickie says, "I love this business. Tonight, it could be my last chance to win this title." Very dramatic. Hurt Business meets with Pierce. MVP basically.
Before Pierce is yelling at security because they keep screwing up because those guys got a frickin' video on the Tron and cut a promo in the middle of his show.
Dude, wait till the end of the show.
And they cut a script. Not only that, it was a scripted promo.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah.
MVP says you got to upgrade your security. We're the Hurt Business. We don't run. Let us help you and you can keep your job. And Pierce says, "You're right. Thank you for volunteering." They start laughing. MVP says, "This is our business. I'll be sending you a bill." Better be a small bill after the work they did at the end of the show, I might add.
Yeah.
So we have Asuka versus Mickie James, and all they do is talk about how old Mickie James is and how this could be her last match. And people have been making fun of her entire career. Here she is at 41. She comes out here. She has a really good match with Asuka. She's better than the majority of the women's roster that they've got.
I didn't think this match was well timed at all. I saw a lot of spots missed.
I thought this match was pretty good until the finish, which is beyond bizarre.
Didn't she get hurt?
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I thought she popped her shoulder, but the match I saw a lot of missed spots.
So they're doing this match, and Asuka does a flying armbar into the Asuka lock. And as she puts on the Asuka lock, Mickie is supposed to roll back into a cradle.
Yeah, for a near fall.
So Mickie rolls back into the cradle, and the referee stops the match.
Yeah.
And literally, Mickie, she looks at the referee, her eyes are wide, and she puts both of her arms out, asking him, like, what is going on here? So she must not have been hurt that bad if she didn't know why it was stopped. And the referee starts talking to her, and she's confused, and the people are booing, and the announcers are baffled, and Asuka's confused.
That's all fake crowd stuff. They didn't. The crowd noise you rarely. I mean, the crowd
was booing. I don't care why they were booing. They were booing this finish because it was ridiculous.
Yeah, the crowd's quiet unless they're told what to do. So
someone told them to boo the referee for a bad call?
Evidently, because that's what they do.
They have no... You're telling me, Dave, that they have no freedom to boo if they don't like something?
No, they have freedom, but they never do because when you're sitting there, you're just watching unless you're being...
Yeah, they watched and it was a shitty finish and they all booed because they were confused.
I didn't notice that at all.
I heard the booing.
I mean, I didn't notice much crowd noise on the show except like the pockets where people will go, like, where you can tell that they're being told what to do, where you see like everyone with their thumbs down, like nobody reacts like that in real life or anything like that. But it works out for them because they actually have they're actually in control of the crowd, so I wonder if they'll just keep doing this forever. Either that or go to like a studio where they have a captive audience and they give them, cheering and booing things like WCW used to do.
All I know is that the referee stopped it. They announced that Asuka was the winner because Mickie could not continue. Mickie is furious. She looks like she's practically in tears. The ref's out there talking to her for like an hour. I mean, maybe she got hurt, but, I mean, she sold it like she was as surprised as anybody else. So maybe the ref thought that she was hurt, but she wasn't hurt. But one way or the other, it was very awkward. And then they send out Zelina Vega, and Zelina Vega cuts a promo on Asuka about how she's wasted her time with these two ingrates. Asuka's an ingrate, and she should be concerned about the stars of today, not the stars of yesterday. And Asuka grabs the mic, she laughs at Zelina. Zelina slaps her, and it's to the back. Apparently that's a match.
For the pay-per-view.
That's the pay-per-view match?
I would think so, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Asuka needs an opponent. So that's the opponent, yeah. Weird. Like I said, I don't.
This whole show's weird.
I don't see Zelina Vega as a woman wrestler. I don't think that's the right move at all. But I mean, there you go.
And we have Charlie with Keith Lee. Keith says, people work their whole careers for a chance to face Drew. We've been friends. But I'll be honest, I'm not happy with this guy interfering in my matches. And I'm going to do what I have to do to become the WWE champion. Sounds like they're turning this guy heel.
Keith? I didn't think so. I just thought it was just a way to do a...
Multiple times on the show where he says, I'll do what it takes to become the champion.
Well, you're supposed to say that. You're not going to go and they're like, well, I'm not going to go after his injury. I know he's got a bad jaw. It's like that's the whole key. It's like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to win the championship. I didn't get a sense at all he was going heel, but I don't know that they even, I mean, they're just running, they're just running by the seat of their pants anyway when it comes to Keith Lee. You can tell there's no plan in place at all. Other than he's still on the list of people that they're pushing, as opposed to a lot of the other guys who are no longer on the list.
Eric versus Lashley. Heavy B's doing commentary. They very briefly talk about Ivar, but only that he got hurt last week. No details.
So here's the thing. This actually should have been the storyline. Is Eric's going for revenge because Lashley hurt Ivar. And instead, they never say anything about it. They do the match, but they just don't tell you the story. So the match is a cold match instead of a match that actually, they're doing a match that makes sense, but they won't tell you why. So it doesn't make sense. That's the situation.
Well, the match is going to be very cold when it goes a minute, and Lashley just taps him out with the full Nelson.
Yeah, well, it's 2 minutes, but yeah, it was a nothing match.
Sarah goes to Kevin Owens and says, Kevin, do you know why Aleister Black formed a personal vendetta against you? Who talks like this? Kevin does not know why Aleister Black formed a personal vendetta against him. Maybe, he says, it's because for a year he wanted people to knock at his door, and no one cared enough to do it. He vows to take him out tonight. He leaves. Aleister Black walks by with the big thing over his head covering his eye. 10 minutes later, he wrestles with nothing on his eye.
Yeah.
Braun Strowman shows up at the Raw Underground. He's all angry. Seth is in the locker room.
What was he angry about?
Just angry.
Okay.
It's Braun Strowman. He wants to beat somebody's ass, he said. So Seth is in the locker room with Murphy. And
so is this like the quarterly whatever, where guys can go to either show or something?
I don't think that counts for Raw Underground. Anybody can go. SmackDown guys there all the time.
Okay.
So Seth was talking to Murphy, who's all sheepish, and Seth says, tonight, it's a perfect opportunity to teach this young man, all the people in the world, a lesson. I want to know if you're ready, Murphy, for your role tonight. Murphy says yes. Seth suddenly slaps him across the face. He runs him into a locker. He says, your role is to stay back here so I don't have to deal with any of your stupid mistakes. Slaps him again and demands he say yes, sir. So to make it abundantly clear, Seth says, stay back here tonight.
And then he doesn't.
They announced Mandy Rose is coming to Raw. Mysterio family's with Charlie. Ray says we're going to be at ringside with him tonight. So yes, it's Seth versus Dominic in a cage, and literally from the opening bell, Murphy is out there at ringside watching this match.
Giving him a kendo stick.
I'm like, dude, did I just imagine that promo that I saw backstage? What is going on here?
Well, that played a part in the finish because Rollins got mad at him for not listening to orders and coming out.
Well, he should have got mad at him because Murphy accidentally slammed the cage door on his head.
That too.
But if Seth is so mad at him, then he should have not had him come out with him. He should have told him to go to the back. He should have not taken the kendo stick from him. It's like he didn't care one bit that the guy was out there after he's slapping him twice and shoving him into a locker and telling him not to come to ringside.
Shouldn't Murphy have turned on him by now?
Dude, this Murphy's just...
He's just getting destroyed.
So they're doing this match, and at one point, the door... It's pinfall submission escape the cage. So the door's open, and Dom starts crawling to the door, and Ray goes over to help pull him out. And MVP, who is a heel doing commentary, astutely points out, hey, that's not right.
Well, it wasn't right.
And so Murphy goes over, and he attacks Ray, and they're having this... he throws Ray into the dashboards or whatever, and he slams the cage door, thinking he's going to hit Dominic. But Seth just happens to be there, and so the cage door goes into Seth's head.
Okay, so he does that, and Seth still wins the match.
Correct, Dave. That is exactly what happened.
How is that? That doesn't even make sense. Other than, they're so afraid, they do every gimmick in the world for Seth to lose, Murphy screws up, everything. But Seth still wins with a curb stomp anyway. 2
curb stomps, I might add.
Yeah, because they won't put Dominic over Seth under any circumstances, I guess. I don't know. And it's you gimmick the whole match up so he can, you know what I mean? And he still loses. Why gimmick it up other than, you're trying to do this thing where, I guess it's the idea that Seth and Murphy, we could see what it is. Somehow Aaliyah's getting hooked up with Murphy. That's the end
I figure she was getting hooked up with Seth.
She's getting hooked up with Murphy.
Well, she went over there and so after the match, Ray's daughter...
She may end up with Seth because Murphy may never leave Seth, no matter what. So, yeah, that's possible.
She's going to get into the cage. The whole family's going in to take a look at Dominic, and Seth had gone outside and just beaten the hell out of Murphy. Kills him. He slams the cage door in his head. Murphy's dead. So on the way in, Aaliyah... I guess we're going to have to change the other Aaliyah's name. As Ray's daughter is getting in the cage, she stops.
Aaliyah number 2.
She checks on Murphy. And then she gets into the cage. And I figure, Murphy's going babyface, so why would she end up with Murphy? Unless he stays with Seth.
He may stay with Seth.
And if he stays with Seth, she's got to end up with this group. Because if she is a heel with Seth, she doesn't have to wrestle. She just has to be there as heat and help him win every now and then. And there's your Mysterio family story. You can go with this all the way through WrestleMania, where hopefully they do Ray and Dominic versus Seth and Murphy with Aaliyah for the tag team titles.
What Aaliyah as a prize?
I don't know if she's a prize, but she's just with them. But it should be for the tag team titles at WrestleMania.
Yeah, they could do that. Sure. So they won't.
And then as he's leaving, Seth passes Ray's wife and says, hell of a job you did with him. Hope she turns out better. He walks to the back. So we got a Raw Underground. Dolph's killing some dude. Shooter Dolph is the best Dolph, but we only see it during Raw Underground, and they still treat him like a geek. Dolph faces Riddick Moss. Strowman shows up and just kills both guys. Starts hitting him with fake pro wrestling moves. And of course, it's to the commercial break. Charlie's with Drew, and Keith Lee shows up, asks Charlie to leave, and Keith is offended. I thought we were friends, and you're sitting here telling people that you saved me last week after I took the RKO. And Drew says, don't spin my words.
He did.
Keith says,
did save him. He did save him, though.
Well, Keith is very angry about this, and Keith says, you seem to think Randy would have beaten me. Well, the only match that you haven't interfered in, I won. I beat Randy Orton. He says, you should be concerned I'll beat you tonight, and again at the Clash of Champions. Drew says, I'm not afraid of anyone. Keith says, well, you should be afraid. So they get irritated. Drew punches his buddy. Keith Lee attacks him. They get in this giant brawl. Security breaks him up, and it's to the commercial break. Titus shows up at Raw Underground. Strowman's killing some bloke. Riddick Moss goes after him. Braun stomps a mud hole in him. Titus hits the ring. He tackles Strowman. Strowman chokes him out with an arm-in guillotine and then leaps on him, and they have to pull him off. Then we go to Kevin Owens versus Aleister Black, who has no eye gimmick on now. He's totally fine. And he works over Kevin's leg forever. He's working over the leg. And Kevin tries to make a comeback, but he collapses because his leg is injured. But then suddenly, the lights flicker, Alistair's distracted. Kevin Owens super kicks him, and he gets the pin.
Stunner. He used the stunner.
Stunner, I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Total shit finish.
Yeah.
What can you do?
It was whatever. I mean, usually you would think that the Retribution guys would screw with the babyface, not with the heel.
Dude, I guess they're just screwing with everybody. I don't even know. Maybe they're baby faces, Dave, because they screwed with Aleister Black, and now they're feuding with the Hurt Business, who are for sure heels.
Although they appeared to be baby faces at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Because it was like 4 of them against like 19 other guys.
Which was also bizarre.
Yeah.
We have Keith Lee attacking McIntyre again. This is when Adam Pearce tells them, you either stop right now or I'm canceling the Clash of Champions, and I'm canceling the match right now. So he splits them up, and then Drew says, you shouldn't have let us fight. To Right Squad versus Lana and Natalya. It's a nothing match. Lana works almost all of the match.
1 minute match. Yeah, Lana worked like the entire match and got pinned, pretty much.
So they pin her. Nia and Shayna yell at the Right Squad afterwards. They beat up Lana and Natty. And then Nia puts Lana on her shoulder. Samoan dropped through a table. Thankfully, nobody died. And that was that. So
Baszler and Nia Jax at the pay-per-view are wrestling Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott for the championship.
Yes.
That's promising, to say the least.
Well, that's more promising than facing Lana and Natalya. That would be worse.
Especially when Natalya's not in the match and it's all Lana, yeah.
Yes. We got Braun still running wild, and finally, this guy's name? The big dude?
Dabba-Kato?
That's right. Dabba-Kato jumps up. He gets in Strowman's face. Shane, ever the promoter's son, says, we can't do this week. We got to do it next week.
Yeah.
The last time they promised a match for next week, it didn't take place.
Well, this one's got a week for Vince to change his mind. So this dude's bigger than Strowman.
He is bigger than Strowman. He's a big dude.
Well, he's a real 6'9", so Strowman's probably like 6'6", 6'7".
So is this Babatunde or who's that?
Yeah, it's Babatunde.
Okay.
Yeah, Babatunde.
I wrote Babatunde down here, but then I remember they called him his other name.
Yeah, I wrote Babatunde down too, but it's Dabba-Kato.
What the hell's the difference? Like, who cares? Why is one better than the other? Why did they have to change Babatunde to Dabba-Kato?
Because he would own the name Babatunde because it's his real name.
I got it.
So,
is that his real name?
Yeah, Babatunde Ayagbushi is his real name. So they don't want him going by his real name because in case he becomes like a really big star and then he goes to AEW, he won't be able to use his WWE name.
Dude, AEW dropped the ball because Rusev's real name, Miroslav Barnyshev, is the fucking greatest name. And right now they're just calling him Miro.
Because that's what he wants.
Dude, Rusev, I know you're not listening right now, but can someone pass the word to use his real awesome name and not Miro? Come on.
It's too late. He's already committed to being Miro.
Dude.
He thinks they've brainwashed him into thinking that his last name is it would not be favorable.
Oh, come on.
What? That's just
Miroslav Barnyshev is so many levels of cool above Alexander Rusev, which they gave him. And he's just going to go by Miro.
You know why they dropped Alexander, don't you?
I have no idea.
You don't know? You don't know why they dropped Alexander?
Because he can only have one name.
No. There was a meeting, and at the meeting, Vince goes, we've got to drop that first name. And it was like, why? And it goes, well, if we call him Alexander Rusev, people are going to start calling him Alex, and Alex is not a good name for a heel.
God.
That's the real reason. So that's why they dropped the first name. And the same thing happened with Cesaro. The reason they dropped Antonio Cesaro was because Vince said people are going to start calling him Tony, and Tony is not a heel name, so we got to drop the first name. So Vince is thinking ahead.
Why didn't Vince ever drop his first name in case people called him Vinny? That's not a heel name.
They did, Mr. McMahon. That's why they dropped it. That's
yeah, but everybody called him Vince.
Well, but they're not allowed to on television. It's Mr. McMahon. That's probably it. He probably has, that's the same reason why, like, nobody's allowed to be Junior, because he hated being called Junior. So, like, all the set, like, Rey Mysterio Jr. couldn't be Junior, Chavo Guerrero
I'm going to start calling him Junior from now on in the show.
Well, you know what?
Just because it irritates him.
In the 70s, that was his name. There were Senior and Junior. I mean, everyone in the business called him Junior, and he hated it. We didn't know he hated it at the time, but I later found out that he hated it because that was his name. You know, there was Vince Senior and not Vince Junior. It was just Junior. And Lou Albano always called him Junior, and I guess he hated Lou Albano too, because well, I mean, I could see there's reasons to hate Lou Albano. I'll say that, but yeah. So that was yeah. So I'm trying to think that's the deal. Vince is thinking ahead. He didn't want people calling him Vinny because and that people were calling him that.
Keith Lee versus Drew McIntyre. Keith Lee now wearing a singlet. Got another new outfit.
So now, if you're right and he's going heel, which he's not, I don't think, he's going to have to be just Lee because I don't think Vince is going to go. Keith's a terrible name for a heel.
Well, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I mean, Big Lee. I'm sure they could come up with some name for him. I could say a Big E, so that's not going to work.
No.
Anyway, they go to commercial immediately, as they always
Bruce
do.
Lee or something.
Come back, hit a couple of big moves. Keith goes for the spirit bomb. Drew escapes. They have a big collision. And yes, Retribution shows up. They surround the ring. They get in the ring.
They swarm all those
guys.
I
think they beat them up, but I couldn't tell because the fucking camera's shaking and zooming, and it's upside down and backwards.
They did. It was like 19-on-2. They beat them up.
So then Hurt Business music hits. They come out on the ramp. They take their jackets off.
I like that Hurt Business music. It's cool.
They're supposed to be heels, Dave.
I like the music. It was good.
Maybe they knew music then. They're supposed to be bad guys.
It was heel music, but it was cool music.
Well, now they come out as baby faces to face off against Retribution. And they're this big brawl, and then Keith Lee and Drew McIntyre do this big flip dive over the top rope as the...
Thankfully, because it's the first time Keith Lee's done anything.
It was, in fact, the first cool thing they've let Keith Lee do.
I mean, Keith's in there with like a 10-minute match with McIntyre, and it's just like, I'm just sitting there going like, these guys are good, and this match is boring. I mean, they're just not doing anything. And, so yeah, it was like, it was a babyface match where neither babyface did anything. It was weird.
Well, listen, let's talk about this show, because we've been talking about it for 20 minutes. So it opens up with an awful glitch, and then the group that calls itself Retribution comes down to the ring.
Okay. Since they're now under contract, why are they still glitching the show?
I have no earthly idea.
Because the whole thing is that they were doing
Maybe it was a legitimate glitch.
It's the same glitch that they do with Bray Wyatt. You know what I mean? It's like just... I mean, the first time that happened, it was kind of like it's a cute idea. People think that there's a screw up, but we're really fooling you. There's not a screw up. Now we've seen it like 3 or 4 times. It's like, all right, whatever. And they announce that these guys are signed, but we don't know who's signed and who isn't. And they're all given new names, even though actually we don't know the 2 names of the women.
No, we don't know the women's names yet.
Mercedes Martinez and Mia Yim, but we don't know their new names, right?
They announced that they have signed a contract with WWE can do anything they want to anybody.
Okay, so here's the thing. So, we know that Keith Lee and Mia Yim are like boyfriend and girlfriend, right? Because we watch NXT.
Sure.
Okay. So why was Mia Yim attacking Keith Lee at the end of the show last week?
Well, because she's wearing a mask, and we're not supposed to know it's Mia Yim.
But when she cut the promo, it was so obviously it was Mia Yim. She was the one who got
We're not supposed to know that, Dave.
It's so obvious.
It's a new universe here. They've moved into a new universe.
This is brutal.
So Mia cuts a promo. She says that WWE is not safe because we have been signed to contracts. She says the roster is motivated by money, even though they just announced that they had signed contracts, which last I checked, pay you money. Dijakovic says we're going to destroy WWE.
Well, it could be that they're working as amateurs. Like they signed an amateur contract.
Sure, yeah. They're going to rebuild it in the image of Retribution, drain the lifeblood from the company.
You know where that line came from, right? We're going to rebuild it in our image?
Johnny Gargano.
Fuck no.
Well, I mean, he's using the same damn line on NXT every single week.
Do you know where that line came from?
Where do they get it?
Okay. In 1985, in Sports Illustrated, it was the closing quote by me in an article about WWE. That's where they got it.
So from 1985?
Well, it's been repeated many times since then, but I was the one who came up with that line first, yes.
Well, I'm blaming you for this shitty promo then, because it was awful. Bunch of WWE buzzwords, WWE catchphrases. They're supposed to be outsiders, but each and every one of you. I hear that 50 times on every show I get to hear from these guys. Yelling at the other wrestlers about cashing their checks like whores. I guess they're not going to cash the checks that they're going to get now that they're signing contracts.
No, they're whores.
It's just horrible.
No, they just said that. I was listening to it. I took it as, okay, we're whores.
Wow.
Which was like, okay, that's something new.
Hurt Business comes out. They hit the ring for a brawl. Retribution bails. MVP cuts a promo on him. Lashley calls them little kids hiding behind masks. And then all of a sudden there's 50 Retribution members. And they all attack the Hurt Business. They beat him up. Nobody comes out to make the save. They go to commercial and they come back and the announcers are plugging Domino's Pizza. And the Retribution is gone.
Yeah, they're still coming back later. Yeah, what an open, huh?
A horrible open. So then
it gets better.
Sarah's with Ray and family, and Ray says he's so honored to watch his son follow in his footsteps. Then we have Angel and Andrade, who broke up last week, Seth and Murphy, who broke up last week, and Dominic and Humberto Carrillo, who we haven't even seen Humberto Carrillo on the show in like 3 months now. These three teams are fighting for a shot at the tag team titles.
So the good thing is so they ask, so the Street Profits are in the match, and they ask them, who do you want to win? And they said that they wanted Carrillo and Dominic to win because we've already beaten the other two teams. So, which would be fine if Carrillo and Dominic win, but in fact, Andrade and Garza won, who we've already established that they've beaten over and over again.
Andrade and Garza work together fine. And Humberto and Dominic do some high flying. Although this was his worst performance ever. Him and Andrade got completely lost at one point and just looked at each other. And then Angel tried to throw him into a 619, but he botched the 619. They finally throw him out of the ring and they just work with everybody else. And so Seth walks out on Murphy. Murphy gets double teamed. Angel and Andrade hit him with the wing clipper, and they beat him. So Angel and Andrade face the Street Profits for the 85th time, coming up at the pay-per-view on Sunday.
Yeah. Like I said, they did a great job of building them up. Didn't they just break up last week?
Yes,
and the week before, and the week before that?
So Shane is outside Raw Underground, and he says to the doorman, tonight it's going to be Dabba-Kato and Braun Strowman. The doorman says, I can't wait to watch it. I'm like, you're the doorman. You're on the fucking outside. Your job is not let anybody in. How have you ever watched any of these fights?
And look, that guy is 7'3".
He can't even get through the door.
Okay, but the thing is, if he was in that building, we would know. And he was not in that building because there was no 7'3" dude out there.
So then Shane says, I'm going on Kevin Owens' show to promote it here tonight. And they have a discussion about how, don't you guys hate each other? And Shane's like, yeah, I'm going to be on the show. So we have another goofy promo from Dijakovic. They're all hung up about this money, and they want to match with Hurt Business. They will pay them in retribution. So it's Kevin Owens' show. Kevin gets on the screen and he says, I know some of you would probably think it's weird that I've got Shane McMahon here on this show.
I would say so.
His explanation is, well, 2020 is weird. He calls out Shane McMahon. So Shane comes out and Kevin sarcastically says it's water under the bridge. Go ahead and promote what you want to promote. So Shane just starts promoting his match tonight. Well, I got the Battle of the Behemoths, Dabba-Kato and Braun Strowman. And I appreciate you letting me be on the show tonight. I know you came to Raw Underground. You met Dabba-Kato. Let's bring him out right now. So he comes out and Kevin ends up saying, well, I knew that he wouldn't be far behind. I don't really care about Raw Underground tonight, but I do care about what happened 2 weeks ago. He ends up slapping Dabba-Kato across the face. Dabba-Kato's furious, and then Kevin Owens introduces his other guest, which is Braun Strowman. Strowman comes down. They have a face-off. Shane is yelling at Dabba-Kato not to go after Braun Strowman. You have to save that for the Raw Underground tonight. As he's saying this, Aleister Black comes out. He trips Kevin Owens. He posts him 3 times. Nobody in the ring acknowledges this at all. They just keep arguing about not fighting here. They're just talking all over each other. This was a mess. A mess of a segment.
It wasn't the worst thing on the show.
Well, I mean, that's low praise, Dave. Why is he having Shane McMahon on his show? I do not buy the excuse that 2020 is weird.
They tried to explain it without having a good reason. Kind of like everything on the show. It's like, we don't really have a good reason, but we'll try to explain it anyway. And
Kevin wanted to lure Dabba-Kato out. Why didn't you just go back to Raw Underground and fight Dabba-Kato?
Well, the thing is, when he was trying to lure him out there, it was to set up Strowman to come out. It wasn't even to fight him, though
Strowman's going to fight him later tonight anyway. Yeah,
but Kevin did say at some point he is going to have a match with Dabba-Kato.
Okay, go to Raw Underground, dude. The door's open.
Well, that wasn't for tonight. Tonight, Braun Strowman had the match, so maybe next week that they'll do the match. The only problem is that, if Dabba-Kato beats Kevin, what does that make Kevin look like, since Braun Strowman knocked him out in a minute? And if Kevin Owens wins, whatever, who cares?
Charlie's with Drew. Do you have any concerns, she says, about competing with a fractured jaw tonight? It's like, why would he be concerned? It hasn't affected him one bit since he came back. So he says, I don't want to answer that. He says, my deal with Keith is it's personal. It's business, not personal. Maybe we'll have a laugh about it someday, but tonight I'm going to go beat the hell out of him. Retribution's beating up some dudes backstage. They explain that one of them is Humberto Carrillo, but the camera's like upside down and backwards and shaking. I have no idea what's going on.
Well, I think one of them was Titus O'Neil also, and I have no idea who the other people were.
Then Tom Phillips once again tells us Retribution can do anything they want now that they have signed contracts. It's like, who signed them to a contract? What person in their right mind signed these guys to a WWE contract? This place looks so rinky-dink.
Vince McMahon. Adam Pearce. I don't know.
So Phillips announces Hurt Business versus Retribution tonight. Then we have Keith Lee versus Drew McIntyre. Now listen, Dave, you told me that if Keith Lee won this match, it was going to be a 3-way.
Yes, that's what they announced during the week.
Well, today on WWE.com, in the preview there was no mention of that whatsoever.
On the show, they said that if Randy Orton couldn't wrestle and he wins, then he's in the match.
Yes, that was the stipulation. If he can't wrestle and Keith Lee wins.
But during the week, it was if Keith Lee won, he'd be in the 3-way.
So nobody knows what's going on.
No, they've had at least several different versions of this during as the week has gone on. Yes. So yes, nobody knows what's going on.
So they have a match, and it's there. Like there's nothing spectacular about it.
Nothing.
There's a long headlock.
It's just two big guys having a decent match and nothing more.
So the only spot that they played up was when Keith Lee gives him a forearm. Drew sells it like he might have cracked his jaw again. But he finally hits the Claymore, his finisher. He has Keith Lee beaten, and Randy Orton runs in for the disqualification.
There was a spot. There was a spot where was it a spear or a tackle where he landed short and Drew had to go out, go over the top anyway.
Oh, he did his running body block, and somehow that was supposed to knock Drew over the top to the floor.
But he came in short. He missed it.
Yeah, this was not a great match.
No, and Drew McIntyre usually has really good matches. And the thing is, I mean, we all know what makes Keith Lee tick, and it's everything that he's not doing. It's like, why do you bring a guy in? Why do you bring a guy in and then take away everything that got him over? I mean, isn't like the whole idea of wrestling, as I was taught, is that everyone is limited and everyone has things they can't do. So what you do is you don't do what you don't do well, and what you do well, you do a lot of. And in this case, with Keith Lee, they build everything around what he doesn't do well and nothing about what he does well. It's amazing. It's like mind-boggling.
Well, it's because Vince thinks that he knows better than anyone else.
But they've got this freaking cookie cutter idea that, and it's like big guy works like this, and it's like not all big guys are the same. Not all small guys are the same.
Well, in WWE, Dave, all big guys are the same. And all little guys are also all the same.
I guess.
It sucks, but that's the way things are. And then Orton takes a chair and he grinds it into Drew's jaw. He's working the jaw. Which leads to, by the way, nothing, because Drew's just fine for the main event of the show.
Yeah, I really was getting the feeling that Randy Orton's winning the championship. Like they're really trying to set up an excuse for Drew for with the jaw injury.
Randy does a promo, talks about the ambulance match, talks about being there and hearing the sirens, and man, this is what all these guys that I punted experienced, and it motivated him, got a rush, he enjoyed the pain, it reminded him of what he was capable of, and he is going to end Drew's career and title reign at the pay-per-view.
Okay, now, Randy Orton was injured more recently than Drew, but Randy Orton is now completely fine.
Well, Drew had a fracture in storyline. Randy just got kicked. He did not have a fracture.
Shouldn't he have like a concussion? He went out in an ambulance?
Well, he passed that concussion test, Dave. He's done it a week before. Yeah. So, Sarah's with Asuka.
It wasn't like it was one Claymore kick, it was three.
It was three. Sarah's with Asuka. Wants to know whether Mickey or Zelina is the greatest challenge to her title. Then
right.
Billie Kay walks up. And she says, "You say you're willing to compete against anybody who asks." And up walks Peyton, and she says, "Why don't you give me a shot?" Peyton and Billie are now friends again, but they're not a team. That's the storyline.
They're not allowed to be a team because of the stipulations in that match that will, I'm sure, be held up for a long period of time. So they break them up. They totally break them up, right? And Peyton turns on her. And then it's like all forgotten. And I think the whole thing is like, and they all these things, like they're blowing off Billie Kay. And it's like, without Peyton Royce, there's pretty much nothing for Billie Kay. So they basically like ruined Billie Kay. So now they're trying to figure out how to put her back together again. And it's with Peyton Royce. It's unbelievable.
Nobody figured this out before they broke them up. That's the foresight we've got here. Everybody knew exactly what was going to happen here, except them.
Well, it happens all the time. It's not like they never learn from it. They don't learn. It's like how many acts that have been successful that they've broken up for no reason that just, how about Alberto Del Rio and the ring announcer, Ricardo Rodriguez? There was like no reason to break them up, and you knew Ricardo Rodriguez was dead the moment they broke him up, and he was. Aiden English and Rusev, right? We're going to have a big feud. Then they decided they didn't want to have him have a feud, and Aiden English was dead, and Rusev was weakened as well. It's like time after time. We just keep seeing this over and over again. And it's going to happen to Zelina Vega next because she is not credible. I mean, as a contender in a wrestling match, she just looks too small. And it's like, I'm not against small if you're really good. Okay. The thing is, if you're a pro wrestler and you're small, you got to be better than the big guy. I mean, what gets me mad is when the small guy's way better than the big guy, and it's just because he's small, they give you the idea you can't get over it, even though we've seen a million times that they can. But when it's someone and she can talk, and that's why she is so well suited for being a manager. So because she's such a great manager, we're going to make her a bad wrestler. The same thing that they did with Lana. And there you go. And it's not like they didn't learn from Lana. I mean, they didn't learn a thing from Lana.
Yeah, I was going to say, they didn't learn from Lana.
They didn't learn a thing.
They didn't learn from any of this.
No.
So Zelina and Mickey for the number one contendership. They showed a replay of last week. They edited out Mickey basically yelling at the referee at the finish. So then she does an inset promo saying she'll never give up, and tonight Zelina's going to find out what it's like to clash with a real champion. So they have a short match, and Zelina beats her clean with a backstabber. And I was watching this thinking, you know what? Whatever you want to say about last week's match, the finish was controversial. The referee stopped the match for seemingly no reason.
Which was never acknowledged on the show once.
But I mean, my point is, if this happened in like any other company on the planet, I mean, you turn that into a storyline for a rematch at the pay-per-view. Instead, they had to rush the match to Zelina Vega.
Well, they had already made the decision to go to Zelina Vega. Mickey James.
It doesn't matter. Why do you have to do Zelina Vega this coming Sunday? Why? You don't.
I have no idea, and she's not ready for it.
Then it doesn't matter if that was their idea. If something happened and you can turn it into an angle, then you can do that.
They're not doing that.
I know they're not doing that, but I'm saying you could do that.
Well, you could do it, but
something organic happened that you follow up on.
It wasn't like Mickey James was winning that match, and it wasn't like it was a good match, so it was like there was no reason.
It doesn't matter. I'll bet you anything that match with Asuka is better than the match with Zelina Vega on Sunday. I bet you anything.
It could be. I don't know. That's a 50-50. I'm not. So the Zelina Vega match probably will be okay. The Mickey James match was kind of not so great. I mean, it could. It's possible it could be better. I mean, it's possible. I don't see it like as any guarantee, though.
Hurt Business jumps Retribution backstage. They destroy them. We have video of Bianca outperforming this dude. This was one of the only two good things on the show.
This was good.
Bianca's in there. There's this other poor bloke. He can't do anything. She's outperforming him at everything. Pull-ups, lifting the tire, handstand walk. This was awesome. And they'll forget all about her again next week, as we always do.
Well, I think that they're going to do something with her, but whatever. I mean, they want to push her. She's on the list to be pushed, her and Peyton.
Dave, what is this list?
The list when Vince goes to the meeting and goes, I want to push Peyton Royce and Bianca Belair.
Okay, so where's the push at?
Well, we're starting the Bianca Belair push again, although they started.
So we just put her on the list this week?
No, it's about 6 weeks ago.
Okay, so where's she been for 6 weeks?
I have no idea. She's been in the gym doing pull-ups.
Well, it sounds like no one's paying much attention to this list.
Because Vince changes his mind. He probably forgot about the list the next week.
Yeah, well, you know what? Maybe the list needs to be put on the wall or something. Can we put it on his fridge? So when he goes to get a protein shake, he can see the list and remember it or something?
No, he'll probably think that it was like some like...
I think it's a shopping list?
Yeah, I think it's a shopping list.
Why am I going to get Bianca Belair at Safeway?
That's basically what I think. That's you think that Vince McMahon shops for himself. You really believe that?
Well, probably not. But I mean, he should be able to.
He probably gives the list to his whoever shops for him, and they're looking at it, going like, "What does this mean?" But they're probably
is it a list of things he needed 3 weeks ago?
Well, they're probably looking at it and going like, "Well, this makes no sense," just like Raw. So I'll just get some tuna.
He wants eggs with the yolk on the outside. Where the fuck do I get those? Tozawa's at the beach with a ninja. Truth is there. There's a shark. Tozawa and the ninja go running. Truth drops a 24/7 title into the water. Truth gets his snorkel gear. He heads into the water. The shark's on its way back. Apparently clothing was found. Did I miss anything here? What's going on?
He found his belt back, even though he left without the belt because he was afraid of the shark, and he had to go back and get it. The shark was still there, but the belt washed ashore. He never did go in the water for it. It thankfully came back to him, as did Tozawa's clothes. So evidently Tozawa was eaten by the shark. Well, but he may be back next week.
The show has jumped the shark, coincidentally.
The show jumped the shark like a year ago. Now we're just watching like the fumes. I mean, this probably jumped the shark in like 2002, honestly.
MVP and Cedric come out. They cut a promo on Retribution. Cedric says, learn the hard way. If you send a message to the Hurt Business, expect one back tenfold. Cuts a promo on Apollo. Gets some cheap heat saying, I don't care about your kid.
So here's another one. Has there been anything that Apollo Crews has done that makes you think that he can beat Bobby Lashley?
Of course not.
So he's the babyface. So why are we watching the pay-per-view?
I have no idea why I'm watching this pay-per-view, to be honest with you.
I mean, as far as other than Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton, which is a main event program, and been booked, basically fine. I mean, it's like every match on this program, on this show. Well, and the Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, and Sami Zayn ladder match has also been, it's kind of convoluted.
Where they beat Sami Zayn
but
on SmackDown.
But it's a 3-way ladder match, so it's okay.
No, Dave, it's not okay, because the whole idea is Sami Zayn is supposed to be a claimant to the title. He's supposed to say, I'm the real champion, and this guy is a fraud. The first thing they do is beat him when he comes back.
Well,
remember when Shawn Michaels left and came back with the Intercontinental title to feud with Razor Ramon, and they kept beating Shawn on television? Oh, I don't, because they never did. Because that would have been stupid.
Well, I'm not saying, but at least they used a ladder. They set it up. We've got a 3-way ladder match. Both belts are going to be there. So I think that's what the idea is that we got both belts there.
Maybe they'll hang the tag belts there. Maybe they'll forget. There's 2 belts. Go get me those tag belts, pal.
Oh my God. Yeah, but at least that's a match that makes sense. Okay, it's 3 good workers, and so we got 2 matches that sort of make sense, and then we got a rest of a card with challengers that have not been built up. But I mean, even if you say Sammy hasn't been built up, AJ was. AJ's had some wins. AJ's a good wrestler. That match makes sense. He's, there was sort of a fluke in the way that AJ lost his championship to begin with. So I think that build-up has been fine. But Bobby Lashley and Apollo Crews, I mean, they basically had him barely beat Cedric Alexander, and he wouldn't have beaten him without, distraction from Ricochet. Even though it was, pretty weak distraction, Cedric got all messed up, and then he got pinned.
Yeah, so Apollo faces Cedric, and Ricochet distracts Cedric. Apollo cradles him for the pin. I mean, this was a match. I mean, there was nothing to it. It didn't go very long. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was literally just there. And then, just to remind all of you watching at home, that in fact, Ricochet and Apollo are just geeks. They were destroyed once again by the Hurt Business, as they are every single solitary week on this show.
Particularly by Bobby Lashley.
Am I supposed to feel sympathy for these guys?
I don't know.
Cedric was a smart guy. He got out of this group. He's supposed to be a bad guy, but he's the only one that used his brain.
Yeah. I don't know. I was just thinking, boy, when that segment was over, it's boy, you made me really interested in seeing Bobby Lashley against Apollo Crews after this. Par for the course.
Then we had the only other good thing on the show, which was Ziggler versus Arturo Huas.
That was pretty cool for 2 minutes.
They had a pretty fun little match.
Yeah,
and then
cool.
Ziggler choked him out, got the win. This was the best match on Raw by miles.
This is like a Raw Underground semi-shoot, just 2-minute thing where they went back and forth, and it was pretty exciting, for what it was.
Then we had Seth out with papers.
Actually, I thought Seth's performance was really good. The angles
went on forever.
But it had to though, because they had to go in there and fake that it was done. Now wait a minute. Now, okay. So,
let's tell everyone what happened. Then you can ask your question.
Oh no! I have to get this out first. Wasn't there a gigantic storyline that lasted months and months and months and months, where it was acknowledged that Dominic Mysterio in storyline was the son of Eddie Guerrero?
Yes.
So why is it having this paternity test? And with that not even being mentioned, it wasn't like it was a minor angle. It was the angle that actually got Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio over to the point where, Vince had to take him seriously because they were doing such monster quarter hours. Before that, it was just they were just 2 guys that were too small. So it was the thing that got both guys over in the WWE, even though granted they were over before in other places and all that, but it was and so we're doing now, and granted it was years and years and years ago, but now it's wait a minute. Oh my God, Dominic's not his son. And it's didn't we already acknowledge that in the ridiculous storyline? But now
let me recap this, because they actually do acknowledge this to a degree.
No, they don't. They never mentioned Eddie Guerrero once.
They didn't mention Eddie Guerrero's name, but Seth says, I want the Guerreros to come out here. I saw
the Mysterios, not the Guerreros.
I saw this picture.
The Guerreros are on AEW.
All right. Well, I saw this picture, he says, on WWE.com. It got me thinking, I want the Mysterios to come out. So the Mysterios come out, and Seth says, I have grown to respect your family. In this envelope, I have the results of a DNA test. I know this has been done before, he says, but times have changed.
No, that was not an acknowledgement of that. That was that before. Suppose the idea is that now we have better DNA tests than we had before.
Yes, this was an acknowledgement from the original storyline with Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio and Dominic.
But it was already acknowledged. So it's like that couldn't be like a better DNA test would prove something different, that makes no sense.
But I believe that the end of that storyline, it turned out that Dominic was actually Rey's son.
Was it?
I'm 99% sure.
Okay,
because I brought this up before. But anyway,
I thought that they acknowledged that Ray raised him, and it was Eddie's son. That was what the whole storyline was about.
I feel like there was something at the very end of it that brought it back to Dominic being Ray's son.
It could be,
but one way or the other. Seth says these DNA results are conclusive. You are not the father, and it's like. Okay, first off, like, where did you get all of this DNA at? Where did you get Ray's DNA? Where did you get Dominic's DNA? Like, what is going on here?
That's an unanswered question.
Ray's daughter's trying not to laugh. And then Seth says, you know, maybe it's not that Dominic isn't your son. Maybe Aaliyah is not your daughter. I'm like, what the fuck kind of a DNA test is this? The test just says, Ray, not father. It doesn't specify to who? Like,
maybe it was like a distant cousin, and he screwed up again.
So then Seth says, I think that Aaliyah is not your daughter, and I have rock solid proof. His rock solid proof is video of Aaliyah checking on Murphy. What?
That was yeah.
And Ray says, dude, I raised my daughter to be compassionate, something that you know nothing about. So don't talk about my daughter. She's only 19, she's naive, and knows nothing about our world. Now Aaliyah's offended. Yep. My dad called me naive. And she storms backstage. Mom storms backstage. Dominic's confused. Ray goes after them. Dominic leaves. Seth stands there awkwardly for a while, and then he says, well, I didn't mean to drive a wedge between the Mysterio family, but you know, it's probably happened to many of you fans as well. And he leaves. By Mysterio family segment standards, this sucked. It went on forever. The storyline is beyond preposterous. It's just ridiculous.
Oh, it's horrible.
It was a waste of my time.
Yeah, but they have to do something for. I mean, they're trying to do something, obviously, to set up Aaliyah being the one that turns on the family.
How about she just turns on the family?
Well, this is the start of it, evidently. But she's going to have to carry this, and, well, we'll see. You know, that's asking a lot for someone who's never been in the business, because her role is going to be as an actress. It's not like as a wrestler. So she's going to have to carry it, and I saw, like, when she did the little bit of talking that she did, and it's not like she was comfortable doing it whatsoever.
We have Shayna and Nia versus Natty and Lana with Liv and Ruby on commentary. Goes like a minute. They choke out Lana, and then the heels go after Liv and Ruby. They run away. Nia puts Lana through the table for the second straight week. You knew this was coming, everybody.
I knew it was coming, but it's my fault.
Well, apparently it is your fault, Dave.
I must have booked it, because there's no other explanation, because it certainly couldn't have been Vince McMahon.
No. It's probably that fucking Adam Pearce.
Couldn't have been. It couldn't even been him.
Sure, it was his fault this happened.
It's probably Jim Ross
or Canyon Seaman or one of these guys.
It's probably Jim Ross.
It can't be Jim Ross. He's in AEW now, Dave. Miro's not going to say anything about him.
But people, Vince may not know that. Or it could be John Laurinaitis. Who else could it be? Paul Heyman? Could be Paul Heyman.
Dude, I don't know.
But I think it's me, because Rusev blamed me. Remember?
I do remember, Dave. I remember
just last week. So it's got to be me, because it certainly couldn't have been Vince McMahon. It couldn't have been Vince McMahon who sent that letter. It had to have been me, right?
Yes.
Yep. It couldn't have been, it couldn't have been Vince McMahon who came up with these new standards and new demands. It had to be me, right? So anyway.
Drew does a promo, says he's going to go pick a fight tonight. We have the Mysterio family arguing, and Aaliyah says, I just came here to support Dominic. You both have gotten hurt. God knows what Seth is capable of doing to me or Mom. At the end of the day, I'm just a naive 19-year-old girl anyway. And she bails. We got Raw Underground, Eric versus Riddick Moss. Riddick Moss KOs this poor guy, beats him up.
Man, this guy's gonna have a real tough year. Before
He'd better hope that Ivar's back quicker than...
Ivar ain't coming back anytime soon. This is a major surgery, and he's got a lot of wear and tear. Eric's, you know what he should do? He should like get like a doctor's note, like, that he needs to take some time off, because the longer he's out there, by the time he comes back, there ain't going to be a Viking Raiders, I think, at this point, because he's going to be beaten down so bad for so long that it'll be just, they may bring him back as a team, but they'll have been, they'll be one of those teams where they're, time passed them by.
We had Peyton versus Asuka, and this was not Peyton's best night. Felt like their time was cut and they were rushing. They mistimed everything. Asuka tries to flying armbar into the Asuka lock, but they could absolutely not save this. They were rolling around trying to figure out how to get this hold on, and out comes Zelina for the DQ, and that was it.
Yep. What a finish.
Buddy finds Aaliyah.
I mean, look, if there wasn't any other DQs on this show, this would still be a bad finish. But it's like this, you know what I mean? It's like, how many DQs do you, I don't know, forget it.
But he finds Aaliyah backstage, says, I just came here to apologize. If I've ever done anything to hurt you, I just want to say I'm sorry. And he leaves.
Has he done anything to hurt her? Well, he's done it to hurt her brother.
Her family.
Yeah. But not to her specifically.
Dude, he tried to blind her father and her brother.
True.
I mean, that's pretty heavy.
Yeah. Maybe you don't buy that apology?
No.
Yeah. Well, they're going to end up together.
Actually, I did buy the apology, quite frankly. But I figure something will go wrong. Yeah, why would he not apologize to her? Seth is being a dick. He doesn't want to be with this guy. He's clearly turning babyface.
Okay, Seth has been treating him like crap, but he keeps coming back to Seth.
Well,
it's like,
yeah.
If he had turned on Seth after the first slight, that's okay. But when it's like the sixth time, it's like, how do you make him a babyface? He's just a sap. I mean, that's how they've ruined a lot of baby faces because they've done this. Because they'll do the turn.
Like all of them?
Well, not all of them. They've had successful baby faces. The ones that are successful, though, are the ones who, when they get screwed, they're the baby face and they get mad. The ones who just keep coming back for more and more and more and more, they tend not to get over when they do their turn. Because it's just been, it's whatever. Hopefully Buddy Murphy can get over. He's a good wrestler.
So after all that time, we finally get Strowman versus Dabba-Kato. They go 2 minutes. Braun punches him. He wins via ground and pound. That's the end of Dabba-Kato.
It's not the end of him. We're going to see him a lot. He's got to wrestle Kevin Owens. And
I can't wait to see that after this.
Yeah, I know.
Wow. He got the rub, though.
He got the rub.
Got the rub being beaten in 2 minutes and knocked unconscious.
Right. He's the new monster. We saw him get beat in 2 minutes. Yeah, on his first significant match. But what else were they going to do? I mean, that
have him beat Braun Strowman?
He wasn't going to beat Braun Strowman. We know that.
Well, then you shouldn't have done the match then.
Well, duh. Isn't that obvious?
Everything about this show is wrong.
Yeah.
Then we have...
okay, but what did they have to draw a rating this week?
You think this drew a rating?
I don't, but if it does, if anything on the show was going to draw a rating, it was Braun Strowman and Dabba-Kato.
Are you kidding me?
Well, what? The tag team with all those? What else?
Maybe Drew McIntyre and Keith Lee.
Not after the first week. No, that you can't. You don't come back with the same thing, and you're going to go down, especially after the bad finish of the first week. That wasn't going to draw any kind of a rating the second time. It didn't even on the first time, really. But because if it didn't on the first time, I'll tell you this: Dabba-Kato and Braun Strowman isn't drawing one viewer. They spent the whole show building it up.
It doesn't matter. They spent the whole show building up Retribution fighting in the main event, which, by the way, was in the same quarter.
I know that sucked too.
We have Slapjack who is Shane Thorne, T-Bar, who is Dijakovic, and Mace, who is Dio Madden, against the Hurt Business. And they have a match. They get the heat on the Hurt Business one at a time. Hurt Business, baby faces in peril, selling hot tags. I'm like, what am I watching? They're baby faces right now. They were heels earlier in this show.
They were baby faces here. It was all set up for Bobby Lashley to destroy everybody. And then we had this ridiculous DQ finish.
So Lashley puts the full Nelson on Slapjack, and then T-Bar runs over and punches Lashley, and they ring the bell, and Phillips explains, illegal man makes contact with a legal man. The camera zooms in and out. Tom Phillips is screaming that this is fine because they're WWE superstars now and they can do anything they want at any time. There's 80,000 Retribution members. Drew's music hits. He comes out with a bunch of baby faces. And then Orton flies in, lays out Drew with an RKO. A terrible television show. I mean, this is a chapter in a book someday.
This was a bad show. I think that we're getting close to a record low. Maybe not this week, and it won't be probably not next week either, but maybe 2 weeks from now.
Why not? What's next week?
Next week's the Raw after a pay-per-view.
Dude.
Although granted it's
I wouldn't hold your breath on that number.
Yeah, but Orton's probably going to win the title. If Orton wins the title, that may have a little bit of interest. May not. I don't know.
Well, let's talk about this Raw show. You were not blown away?
No more Raw Underground maybe, huh?
It was gone.
Gone without a mention. Not even like whatever. So this show, they started writing.
Maybe they're all quarantined.
I don't know. This show, pretty much, I don't want to say they started writing at 2:00 this afternoon, but they had nothing final until then, and then they were putting it all together. But it was basically written it was basically a last minute write. And I mean, so here's the thing: the only hook they had in this show, and this was like, so here's a weird thing. Okay, on and I don't know what they're doing now, because if you remember the thing on NXT, Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly was going to be presided over by Shawn Michaels. But Shawn Michaels, in theory, was injured in the final segment. So I don't know if they dropped that or just...
I'd bet you $20 he's there.
Yeah. But that's the whole thing, okay? That was the point, is that if you're using Shawn Michaels on Wednesday and on Monday, you're desperate as shit, and he doesn't mean that much anymore. Like if he was on once a year that one time, I don't even think he meant that much when he did the thing with Randy Orton that they advertised. But if you use Shawn Michaels every now and then, or use Ric Flair every now and then, and it's happened over and over, they do mean ratings. You go back to the old guys, frickin' Christian, because he hadn't been on in so many years, when they did that show built around Christian and Randy Orton, they did a great number for the time. It's way up. So usage of these people does help, as long as it's not overdone. Once it's like week 2 or week 3, it's a short-term boost. It's like it doesn't solve any problems. It's just a 1 week boost. So this show, the hook is that they freaking had Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, Christian, and Big Show all on the same show playing cards, and that was it, because they needed something to get people to watch. And they didn't even advertise it until, like an hour or two before the show started?
Well, I'm not paying attention an hour before the show starts, so I don't know if they ever advertised it.
No, it was advertised.
I'm a normal person.
I knew about it, I would say, 2 hours before the show started, maybe?
Okay, that means nothing for viewers.
I've seen stuff that advertised at the last minute that's helped. It's not.
If they advertise Rock 2 hours before, I'm sure word's going to get around, but I don't think word's going to get around that Shawn Michaels and Christian and the Big Show and Ric Flair are going to play cards on Raw.
Well, they didn't tell you they were going to play cards. They said they were going to be out there with Drew McIntyre, which they were. if they had said they're all going to be on playing cards, actually people would probably tune in because they figured Ric Flair would make any card, would make it
which he did, by the way.
He
had a great line there at the end, but don't spoil it now.
Yeah, I mean, he probably did about as well as you could do in that situation, but still, it's like you built a show around those guys playing cards and Randy Orton destroying them in like frickin' like Batman, a Batman segment. You know what I mean? 1967 Batman, just corny as shit. I mean, as far as like the Raw show itself, I thought that it was there. Nothing really offended me, but it was very uninspired. Like Bobby Roode comes in as the big surprise, which is, I mean, he hasn't been around. It's okay. The match was fine. I mean, I think that most of the wrestling was good or okay. I wouldn't even say good. The only maybe the Drew McIntyre Bobby Roode match was good, but most of the wrestling was okay, to less than okay, and but it was just there, you know. I mean, there's a little hook with the Rey Mysterio storyline. I mean, there is something there, which means it's probably not written by them. And aside from that, we just had 3 hours. That's all it was, is 3 hours of filling time. But the one thing I think is pretty clear is that McIntyre and Randy Orton are absolutely wrestling in Hell in a Cell.
Yeah. So it's Big Show, Christian, Shawn Michaels, and Ric Flair coming out. And then Drew comes out. He puts them all over one at a time. And Shawn says, I got news for you. We came out here to thank you for allowing us to whip Randy Orton's ass. The storyline is that Drew McIntyre had no idea these guys were going to show up last night. So it's not like he had this plan to screw Randy Orton. They just showed up on their own.
Well, that was
apologized afterwards.
Yeah, so that they had to do that because of the backlash that it took 5 guys to win, and that, you know what I mean? So it had to be that, well, Drew didn't want us there. We came on our own. That was
the irony was, I mean, okay, so whatever the storyline is, the reality is that Randy Orton was beaten by 5 guys. So you would think that a Randy Orton would appear on the big screen and point out that I came out here for my match. It took 5 of you to beat me. But no, he shows up and he just says, this is not over until I say it's over. I will get another championship match because I'm Randy Orton. And he says, I'm not going to beg, but I'll get it. And then he takes his bag and he leaves. So they pretend like he's gone for the night. So Drew says, what a shame. He's left the building. I'm going to put my title on the line tonight against anybody. It's an open challenge. Anybody who I have not faced before can face me for the world title in the main event. That's the opening segment.
Yeah. So the hook for the show is who's going to be the big surprise. And I would think that people who stuck around, I got to think it was going to end up being like one of those surprises. It's a disappointment. Even though I liked the match.
We had a Zelina promo where she is accused of being a poor sport last night. Asuka shows up. They argue. This leads to Asuka versus Zelina 2. So Asuka beat her last night, clean in the middle, with the Asuka lock.
Yeah.
And they announced the rematch for Raw. I thought, okay, whatever, it's a rematch. Then they announced it's for the title.
No, it was
championship rematch.
It was always for the title. Even last night it was for the title.
Okay, why?
Oh, there's no good reason, because they needed 2 title matches because they're going against this football game, and that's all. I mean, there's no...
I'm sure this match being for the title was really a ratings mover.
Look, I'm sure it meant absolutely nothing, but in their mind, it's like, we got to do something. Look, they were clearly out of ideas. I mean, when you're like I said, when your big idea is, bringing all these guys back and then having them play cards all night, you know that you're desperate. It's like, I remember when WCW used to do this. They didn't have people play cards, but they would do dumb shit. Okay. But they would they would do something where they would hot shot something like this. And I remember Zane Bresloff would always go like, we're putting a Band-Aid on our cancer, which is exactly, the perfect analogy for tonight's show by bringing back Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels and all these guys and Christian and everyone but Edge. You notice that they keep Edge out of this because they want to protect Edge from being part of the group, because when Edge comes back, Edge is making so much money, he can't be part of this this group. He's got to be by himself.
So they do the match, and they go back and forth, and Zelina puts her in a bunch of holds and hits a backstabber for a near fall, goes for a moonsault. Asuka gets the knees up, puts her in the Asuka lock for the submission. In a vacuum, this match was all right.
It was okay.
If you watch this show, this manager is beating the shit out of Asuka for like 80% of this match, and I don't buy it.
They're trying to give her credibility.
No, Dave, you have to build someone up before they go from a manager to getting a championship match with Asuka.
No,
I don't buy that.
We already had the one championship match, and in theory, in the one championship match, she did okay. Now she still got beat. I didn't think this match was as good as the match last night, but it was fine. It was okay.
Got the Legends playing cards backstage, and then they go back from commercial, and Andrade's in the ring, and he is yelling at Zelina. And he says, "You are nothing without me. You blame everything on me, but look at you. Asuka beat you twice. You're the weak link. This is why Garza got hurt last night. I was the one holding this team together. Andrade is the greatest in WWE. Who wants to face me?" So it's a night of open challenges. That's their idea for the evening.
Well, we only had 2.
And the answer is Keith Lee. And he comes out here, and he gets his one big spot where he does leapfrog, high cross. But then Andrade works over his knee for a bit and hits the running knees in the corner. And then Keith just hoists him up, hits the spirit bomb, and gets the pin.
Very quick match. Very quick match. It was, I think that they felt that they needed to do something. Yeah, it almost felt with the Andrade thing that they're going to turn Zelina babyface.
Well, he did yell at her.
Yeah.
I don't have high hopes for either of them at this point.
Oh, no, neither do I. She will get lost as far as the wrestling goes. She was much better off in her old role. And Andrade, especially with Garza gone now too, Andrade, look, you saw it. Andrade's going to be completely lost. He was going to be completely lost anyway, but now he's going to be completely lost quicker.
We should interrupt this Raw report here for this news. Harold May stepping down as president of New Japan in October.
That's huge.
And Takami Obari, CEO of New Japan America, will replace him in that position. Obari is fluent in English. I
will get more after the show. Not stunned. The thing with him was that he had, but you know what? Here's the thing. His big thing was that he would get them up to 100 million in revenue within, by the end of this year, which was impossible without a major American television deal. Which was, and a major American television deal, is, for an unknown group like that was pretty darn hard. And pretty much, I would say that, New Japan's lost so much momentum in this country ever since, Omega and the Young Bucks left. So, the Garden Show would have been a big success to springboard off of. But, the whole thing with New Japan this year is like you opened with the 2 Tokyo Dome shows. That was a huge success. And then we had the pandemic. And, Harold May is, in my mind, did a fantastic job. Now, financially, no, but what are you going to do? And and you know what? He couldn't have done much differently, in that situation, because you kind of have to abide by, what would I say? You have to kind of abide by what Japan wants and everything like that. So, but I'd kind of heard things in the sense of, that, again, he was going to get that. He didn't get close to that revenue number, which he couldn't get. Until the pandemic, they were doing great. Not even good. They were doing great. And, but, there's always a lot of politics there. But, Obara was heading to USA stuff. And I'm not impressed with that at all, with their USA. I mean, I don't think that any of their moves, running these small shows in the U.S., they serve no purpose whatsoever. They have the Friday night thing, which is fine. It's cool, but and what else can you do? I mean, anything since March, it's all out the window. I mean, so, but there you go. I'll have to find out more about this.
Well, we go from that to some geek sitting at the Hurt Business table, and they intimidate him and they run him off. We have the recap of Tozawa being eaten by a shark, and then Truth is playing chess with himself, and a ninja shows up. I can't believe we went from New Japan and Harold May to this, what I'm recapping right here.
He was playing with little Jimmy, the imaginary person.
Yes, so he was playing by himself. So a ninja shows up. He's got a message. It says, if you were reading this, I was eaten by a shark. Our battles were epic. Would have made Funaki proud.
It was a message from Tozawa.
Yes, wear this with honor. Regards, Akira. And it is Akira Tozawa's black belt. Truth is all distracted. Tozawa shows up from the belly of a shark. He rolls up Truth. He pins him. But then the first ninja that had the letter, he hits Tozawa. He pins him. It's Drew Gulak.
So he switched brands. Was he traded for... Because it's like...
You're thinking way too much about this one.
Yeah,
they did an angle on a co-branded pay-per-view, and the angle is continuing tonight. And I'm pretty sure
Drew Gulak's now on Raw.
Well, he's on Raw this evening.
He's on.
Yes, he's on this evening. But
we'll see. I got the impression that he's on.
Well, Dave, they also have the 4 times a year people can go back and forth from brand invitational.
Whenever they do that, they make a point of saying that.
Well, you can't say that. He was dressed as a ninja. He snuck in.
No, but he had a match later.
He did have a match later.
Yeah.
But it was signed because he snuck in as a ninja.
Yeah.
Anyway, who cares? Truth then hits Gulak with the briefcase, pins him, so they announce a 3-way for later. Seth is with Murphy. He's all happy. They're together again, although Murphy's pissed off. And Seth says, listen, there's a King's Court tonight with the Mysterio family. It's a huge night. I want you to lighten up, Murphy. I want you to go, get out of your gear, and go put on that suit that I got for you. And so Murphy goes to put the suit on. Seth Rollins gets his phone, which we'll get to in a moment. But to cut to the chase, Murphy left, but he came back and he still had his gear on. So he never put the suit on. Not that anyone cares.
It was a trick.
Well, there's no suit?
It was a trick so he could steal his phone.
Well, yeah, but he told the guy to go put the suit on, and the guy didn't put the suit on. He came back in his gear.
He forgot.
He went to put on his suit, and he forgot to put the suit on?
Yeah.
Well, maybe he should take an impact test, because that's pretty concerning.
How many times has Seth Rollins beaten him up?
Well, this is concerning, Dave.
He's beaten him up multiple times, and yet they're still together. So I think that he's got major memory issues.
Well, we have a draft plug, and then Jerry Lawler's with the Mysterio family. And he's asking Ray about what happened, and Ray's talking about
I guess this. I mean, and it happens, and it's with both companies. And we had Ric Flair on the show too. We just had a freaking outbreak in both companies, and here we got Ric Flair, who's had God knows what health issues. Jerry Lawler, who's had, a heart attack and nearly died, and is 71 years old. And it's like, do they really need to be here? I mean,
I'm pretty confident we did not need Jerry Lawler on this show to do the.
I mean, even like Ric Flair at least was storyline. I mean, I'm not, whatever, but I wouldn't be like if there's a major reason that they got to be there, and I don't know that like going against a tough NFL game is it, but I guess in their world it is. Okay, whatever. But I mean, there was no reason that anyone could have been in that Jerry Lawler spot. I mean, no whatsoever.
So Dominic says, the next time I see Seth, I'm going to put an end to this. And Jerry says, listen, I understand the frustration. Seth might be lying. But Aaliyah was very upset with Ray's words last week. You called her naive, said she knew nothing about the world. But she did approach Murphy afterwards. I want to know how she's feeling. And she says, well, I'm a little upset still. My parents have this image of me, but I'm 19 years old, and as far as Murphy goes, he came and sat next to me. I didn't go looking for him. I don't know what to think of him, but if he's hanging around Seth, he needs to reevaluate his life choices because Seth is a fraud.
Yeah, but she came off as a liar.
So Seth appears on the big screen.
A freaking Mysterio, a babyface liar.
And he says, one of you is not being 100% honest with your family. The truth is, Aaliyah might not be telling the truth about how she feels about Murphy. And he shows DMs on the Titantron of Aaliyah wishing Murphy happy birthday, offering to meet up with him and talk. And she's aghast. And she says, Murphy is not like Seth. And she bails. It's all awkward. The Mysterio family follows her. Murphy storms up to Seth. He gets his phone back. He's not in his suit. He says, I don't know anything. And he grabs Seth by the collar. Dominic flies in. Dominic attacks Murphy. Dudes pull him apart. And they announce, not for next week. God forbid we build up a match for next week. Dom and Murphy is tonight.
They don't have any idea about next week. They barely had an idea about this week.
Well, I'm pointing out you could have done Dom and Murphy next week and had one match for the show.
I mean, you could have. You're right. You could have. But then what would you have done this week?
Well, I mean, they had the rest of the show.
Not much.
We have Lana and Natty.
Seth violated the man code there.
Well, he's Seth Rollins. I mean, he's supposed to be a dastardly individual.
Well, he violated it.
Well, the text messages weren't for him, Dave.
No, that's even worse.
Oh.
It's even worse revealing somebody else's text messages than your own.
So Lana and Natty are talking about their social media. They want the tag titles tonight. Adam Pearce says,
that wasn't going to happen.
We're not stripping this Shayna and Nia of the titles, but I will give you a match against the newest members of Raw's women's division. Mandy Rose has been drafted to Raw. She is now a tag team with Dana Brooke. They go in there. They have a match with Lana and Natty. I don't know if Natty is hurt, but Lana works like the whole match again. This is 2 weeks in a row. It's bad. She gets dropped practically on her head.
That wasn't her fault.
This wacky spot. Apparently she was fine. Mandy hits a running knee and pins her. And I guess Mandy and Dana are on their way to a tag title shot down the road.
Yep. Wow.
I'll say. Wow.
Well, they had to replace the Iconics.
Where's Peyton? Did they forget about her?
I mean, like, I don't have an answer, but, I mean, it could be any one of a million different things. She wasn't on the show. I mean, she could have been not booked, and it could be something else. I don't know. I mean, whenever anyone disappears, you always think, because since nobody tells you anything, they lead you to speculate on everyone who's not there. I mean, I've seen people go through every, and you know what? I mean, it's like, I don't blame them. That there's a lot of people, or a decent amount of people on both units that are either infected or have been around someone who's infected. So anyone who has been to recent parties has been around someone who's infected, and I don't know who is and who isn't. But yeah, no Peyton Royce, no Billy Kay. I don't know if they're friends this week or not. They were friends last week again.
Aleister Black does his promo. So I think what's going on is that Kevin Owens was at home with his family when Aleister Black had his eyeball gouged out by Seth and Murphy.
I think that
and so he's mad at Kevin.
Yes.
Instead of the people that actually gouged his eyeball out.
Yes.
Did I miss anything there?
You missed nothing, and yes, that's exactly when he was telling this. I was thinking, like, why are you not mad at Seth Rollins? I mean, when you come back, shouldn't that be the guy that you're after? But everyone has their own way of thinking. And
you're right about that.
Yeah, I don't know. They're thinking for his character They just wanted to turn him heel. He was, so that's the best they can do. He didn't explain about Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy.
So the Big Show suggests that maybe he will accept Drew's challenge, and the Street Profits come in and they're all wacky. He can't accept Drew's challenge. It was specifically people who had not faced Drew before. Is he unaware that he faced Drew?
Well, he was told.
I saw it with my own eyes.
They did explain that. They said that you wrestled him after WrestleMania and it didn't go so well, and so you can't do it. So it was a way to explain to everyone one more time that you have to not have wrestled him to be in this match. So Big Show and Dolph Ziggler later are disqualified from this match.
So we had Kevin Owens and Aleister Black, and they're having a good match. And in the middle of it, there's an argument with Aleister and the referee. And then they continue wrestling. And Aleister is punching Kevin Owens. And as he goes to punch him, he accidentally elbows the referee. The referee announces it's a disqualification. Aleister Black is rightfully furious. Why is this a DQ? I wasn't even looking. I accidentally hit you. The referee's arguing that he hit him, I guess, on purpose. I don't know. And
well,
so,
you're not allowed to, no, he said you're not allowed to touch the referee because you're not allowed to touch the referee.
It was an accident. You know what's even worse about that, Dave? In the very next match, on accident, and it was on accident, Drew Gulak threw somebody into the referee.
Yeah, that was an accident.
Which was not a DQ.
Yes, because that was very embarrassing when you they were trying to get over that you can't touch a referee, and then the referee got touched in the next match, which wasn't planned, and so they ignored it. Yes, it was.
This is the kind of thing where I think we're at WCW levels here because nothing goes right.
Oh no, we're at WCW levels.
Yes.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. It's the last month or so. It's definitely. I mean, it's not okay. It's not from a booking standpoint. It's not as insane, but it is.
It's getting pretty close, Dave.
No. WCW did really absolutely dumb shit. This is more inept. They're equally inept. There's a difference. Like WCW did stuff that was just absolutely just way out. You know what I mean? Like David Arquette.
Yes, nobody's mother has been put on a pole. But as far as like basic professional wrestling booking, I mean, this is the worst of WCW. This shit makes no sense.
Okay, it's not as bad because you haven't done, like, some of the Russo stuff was just way dumber than this. But so it's not as dumb. But as far as inept, pushing new talent, things like that, yes, it's as bad as WCW. You bring in new guys, you beat them right away. You have talented guys, you do nothing with them. Yeah, in that sense, yes, it's the WCW 1999-2000 level, absolutely. And the numbers are the same, are dropping at the same level. So yeah, we're basically rewatching that period, and it sucks. Luckily, there's all kinds of good wrestling all over the world. So it's just like, it is what it is. I mean, if you don't like it, you only got plenty of other places to watch plenty of good wrestling. So that is what it is.
Well, he bonks into the Hurt Business.
They're heels by the way, even though they ended last week's show as baby faces.
So Ali walks out of this room. He accidentally bonks into them. They get angry. Ali says, and I quote, "I was lost." Which, in fact, if he was at Raw, he probably was lost.
No, he's there every week, though.
They bully him. Dave, come on. On television, if you're a television viewer,
you don't know that.
Vanished. He is, in fact, lost being here at this show.
Okay.
So they bully him.
He's never been in an arena before in his entire life.
Apollo and Ricochet show up, and away we go. Tag match later. Ali's getting another 3 weeks. We have Tozawa versus Gulak versus Truth, as noted. Gulak tries to throw Tozawa outside, throws him right into the referee. Not a DQ. Gulak then puts Truth in the Gulak. Tozawa comes off the top. Somehow Truth just moves out of this move, and Gulak gets hit. And then Truth lays them both out, pins them both. Drew Gulak re-signed with WWE for this.
Where was he going to go?
Anywhere in the world.
I mean, what he could have gone to Impact. I don't see AEW. If I'm AEW, do you take Drew Gulak? I mean, he's good. I'm not saying for sure you say no, but it's like during a pandemic. You know what I mean? It's like you don't. he's not a guy I'm going to run to. And I think he's really freaking good. And I, feel bad for the fact that he talks so well, which is very important in WWE. And he can wrestle so well, which is more important than usual, than it's been historically. But they've just, they're not going to do anything with him. I think that they don't like, probably don't like his body, or they don't like, I don't know. What's there not to like about him?
You're asking me?
I mean, I don't know. I just know they don't like him. I mean, I'm saying they don't like him personally. I'm just saying they do not feel clearly that he is worthy of a push. Daniel Bryan did, because when Daniel Bryan was booking, he booked all this stuff for him, but I guess he was the only one who saw something in him. I mean, in all those promos, that guy's great on promos, but, I mean, he's always been treated like a joke. I mean, remember when they did that thing a couple weeks ago with Braun Strowman? I mean, what's more of a joke than that segment?
We have Charlie with Mandy and Dana. Charlie wants to know, quote, how this successful duo came to fruition. They have the fakest discussion about how awesome each other are. I've seen you get knocked down, but you get up and fight back. That's what Dana says.
Yeah.
So they want the winners of the tag title match.
And what did Mandy say? That you're a great athlete?
Something like that.
I think she said she was a great athlete. I mean, she can do flips and shit.
Dom versus Murphy. You know who else can do flips? Dominic. So he beats the hell out of Murphy. They're going back and forth. Murphy V-triggers him, and Dom hits a DDT out of the corner. So finally, Dom goes outside, and he looks underneath the ring, and he's going to grab a kendo stick. So Aaliyah runs down the aisle. She says, no, Dom, don't use the stick. Dominic says, get out of here. She says, no, please put the stick down. So they're screaming at each other, and Murphy rolls up Dom, and this was actually Murphy's fault. Murphy apparently got confused and thought a 2 was a 3, and he stops covering him at 2, and so the referee just counts 3, because it's supposed to be the pin. So add that to the list. And then he rolls outside, and Dominic and Aaliyah are screaming at each other, and Dominic finally says, can't you see what's going on? I'm doing this for our family. Dad was right. You are naive. And she slaps him. She walks to the back. Just seems rushed.
Hey, we got to get something going.
We're getting something going, all right.
Yeah. She was naive, though.
Well, we don't know that, Dave. Maybe Buddy is a nice guy. I mean, he's only taken out one guy's eye.
Okay.
Tried to take out another guy's eye.
Okay, yeah. He tried to take out the father's eye, and he has memory issues, and he's only 31 years old.
But bad influences. He's had bad influences, Dave. You know these kinds of guys. Great guy at heart, but bad influences. She just needs to save him.
I suppose, right? Where this is headed to something. Actually, it's probably going to wind up being one of the best storylines on the show. Just because it's something different, and it's actually like week to week.
It's going to be one of the best storylines because it's actually going somewhere.
Yeah,
unlike every other storyline that goes nowhere, except for the Hurt Business storyline, which just keeps going around and around in circles forever.
I don't even know what storyline is the Hurt Business storyline.
The Hurt Business storyline is they beat up Ricochet, Apollo Crews, and they will beat up Ollie within 3 weeks. And they just keep beating him up forever.
Oh, Ollie's getting beat next week. Are you kidding me?
Probably right.
He's going to probably get a singles match with Lashley. You think, whatever.
So Dolph has a meeting with Adam Pearce. He's got an idea for tonight. MVP and the Hurt Business come out. MVP cuts the exact same promo I just cut. We're just going around and around in circles. The same shit over and over again. We just keep beating these geeks. So it's Hurt Business versus Apollo, Ricochet, and Ali. And they start the match. The lights flicker and go out. We go to commercial. We come back. Nothing has happened.
Well, no, they had big banners, Retribution all over the place. It was like, Retribution's here.
Yes, and we went to commercial. We came back, and nothing had happened.
No, now we're in a match and nothing happened. Yeah, yes. And they never came out because we have to keep them alive because they're a key storyline. But they couldn't even get 5 mask guys. It's like now isn't this ridiculous that they've had
where are you gonna find a 7-foot mask guy?
You don't need a 7-foot mask guy. Look at they started the guys under masks for Retribution changed every single week. Okay. So all you got to do is get some bodies.
Well,
there's got to be some bodies.
Well,
somewhere.
they gave them these new outfits where you see Dio Madden's hair and you see Dijakovic, most of his.
So just bringing freaking ninjas.
These are the guys
Tozawa.
now. These are the guys now, Dave.
So
Tozawa's busy.
There were 20 of them last week.
Well,
I'm sure not
they're
all
all
20.
quarantined.
I'm sure not.
Clearly, those guys were all hanging out together last week.
Well, they were all. But so was. If you're going to look at it that way, last week, then every freaking person on this show was.
Well, hey.
I mean, how many people did those 20 Retribution guys get in contact with last week? Certainly Keith Lee and Drew McIntyre in the Hurt Business. If we're quarantining everybody that's been in contact with those guys, we don't even have a show anymore. You got to draw the line somewhere or not have a show.
Well, Ollie hit a botched satellite DDT, went up top, hit the 450, got the pin. This feud, in fact, must continue.
So on that DDT spot, what was the deal? I mean, like...
He didn't have his head.
And because MVP's head was like 3 feet from the ground.
Yeah, because he didn't hook his head for the DDT. Somehow he jumped and he just grabbed his body, and then they both fell down.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Okay.
Flair... So they're all backstage doing this card game, and everyone shows their hand. They all think they've won, and then Flair reveals that he had a royal flush. And Shawn Michaels goes, "Nate, that's impossible!" And Ric Flair says, and I quote, "No, it's not. Not when you're me." I laughed. If anybody's going to get a royal flush in this game, it's Ric Flair. And he struts off, and I thought this was the end.
No.
But alas, no.
No. I thought it was so...
We cannot put smiles on faces tonight, Dave, even in a poker game.
I knew that when as soon as those guys were there, you knew Randy Orton. I just didn't understand how Randy Orton was going to take all 4 of them out. But I knew that he was going to, because it's like, that's why they were there.
So then we had one of the best things on the entire show. Bianca brutalizes more geeks. It's track and field this time.
She outran Pineapple Pete.
Oh, man, she just destroyed these poor fools. You know what's great about it is, when I was a little kid, I watched all the vignettes for Mr. Perfect, and they were all bullshit. It was camera tricks and this and that.
Well, you know,
Bianca Belair is legit.
Yeah, she's strong and fast.
That was not a body double running and jumping those hurdles. That was Bianca Belair.
Yeah, she was a real college hurdler. So, yeah.
She should be Miss Perfect. That should be her gimmick.
EST of WWE, that's her thing. EST, that's her gimmick.
That's her thing. Hopefully they do something with her this time.
Well, they will at first.
She should be a megastar. A megastar!
She could be a star, but do you have confidence in them?
Of course I don't.
Okay.
But I mean, I got 2 good weeks out of it so far, so that's something. That's
so
more than Ali got last time.
I mean, the vignettes have been very good so far.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So
but you know what? You're never running with hair like that. No way.
Well, I'm afraid she did, Dave. I saw it with my own 2 eyes.
Well, she outran, but okay. But here's the thing. She can run and do the hurdles and everything like that, but it's like the other guys weren't running their hardest.
Dude, did you see her running those hurdles, dude? She was
hurdles?
Sprinting over those hurdles.
Yeah,
with
but those other guys
hair.
weren't. Those guys weren't running their hardest.
Dude, she was running really fast, and it was very impressive.
It wasn't like if you watch a college track meet, the women would be quicker than her.
I'm sure a woman's college track meet athlete would be slightly faster than Bianca Belair,
yes,
but not considerably faster.
Not considerably, but they would be faster.
We have Rude and McIntyre for the title, and in a vacuum, I thought this match was so good.
Very good match.
Fans watching at home, I don't think they believed for 1 second that Bobby Roode was going to beat Drew McIntyre. But they did so many good near falls, good psychology, working over the leg, figure 4 spots. Drew makes a comeback. He tries the kip up, but he falls down because his leg is bad. And then finally, Roode hits the glorious DDT, which if Roode had any credibility would have been a great near fall, but he doesn't. They know he hasn't even been here all year. And then Drew does a reversal, hits the Claymore, got the pin. This was the best wrestling match on the show by far. Clean finish.
Well, God, we had no competition for that spot.
Well, we would have.
Well,
I mean, we would have finished with Aleister Black and Kevin Owens.
Yeah, Aleister Black and Kevin Owens was fine
fucked that up
until the bad finish, yeah.
So, very good match to end the show. And then, listen, everybody. If you like this, great. But it fucking sucked, okay?
It sucked.
Randy Orton is backstage dressed as a janitor. Now, let's just stop right there for a second. Why the fuck is this guy dressed as a janitor? He didn't get kicked out of the building. He left the building of his own accord. He just got his stuff and he left. Why does he have to wear a disguise backstage? So he's sneaking around dressed as a janitor, making sure nobody sees him, because I guess Randy Orton isn't allowed to be at Raw. So he sneaks over and he sees the Legends Lounge. And he takes, after sneaking around, he just takes all his stuff off, so he sees Randy Orton. He opens a door. All the legends are in there playing poker. They look at him. They go, oh. Randy Orton puts on a pair of goggles. They explain it's night vision. He shuts off the lights, and you start hearing all this clanking because he's hitting them with chairs, okay? None of the legends are screaming. None of them are shouting or yelling for help. They're just getting beaten allegedly with chairs.
There's 4 of them.
It's fucking ridiculous.
It was so
I know
ridiculous.
why the lights have to be out, because they won't allow you to see anybody hit Ric Flair, but dude. So then he turns the light back on. He's in the exact same, so he hasn't moved. I guess he's got extendable arms that he hit everybody with. So he goes out of the room. He starts walking. You hear a commotion. He puts everything back on. He pretends he's a janitor. He just points to the Legends Lounge. All of the geeks run in there, and he lurches off down. He's still in his disguise. I'm like, why did they go to all of this trouble for a completely nonsensical promo? There was no reason to be in disguise. There was no reason to dress up. There was no reason to put on the disguise again. There was no reason to do any of this.
Look,
all he needed to do was sneak in and beat them up and leave.
Yeah. I can't
Of
say
all the things to overthink.
I can't say anything about it. I just thought that it was ridiculous. It was just silly. But the end result is that, was the obvious end result from the beginning of the show, is that the show ends with Randy Orton taking out all those guys that, cost him his match.
So in storyline, Randy Orton killed all of these guys.
Somehow.
They returned and cost him a match.
Yes.
And then he just killed them again.
Yes. Because getting heat on legends is stuff that they like to do. It's part of their MO. You use the legends to draw a rating, and then you have the heel take them all out because it's easy heat. Just the same way that, if it was somebody's hometown, they would take him out because it's so easy to get heat on a guy in their hometown rather than get a pop and make everybody happy. That's just part of the Vince McMahon rules of booking. There are different rules than everybody else has. They often, perhaps most of the time, there's a reason that nobody else has those rules because they make no sense. But, Vince is there, and Vince has his, flock of people who are not going to question it. And they shouldn't anyway, because it's not their job.
They shouldn't.
They can't.
Maybe someone needs that job then.
He's gonna hire someone who's gonna go, Vince, this sucks. He's gonna really hire them. I mean, these guys all kiss his ass, everyone up and down, and he's firing people left and right, and they all know it. So what do you think they're gonna do?
Have some pride.
You can't have pride and work there. I mean, maybe you can if you're a wrestler, I suppose, but half the wrestlers there, how much, you know what I mean? There's how many wrestlers there where you would go just, God, get out of there. And some of them will, and a lot of them won't. The ones who will, we watch them on AEW every week.